Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's Monday night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. Make sure you all please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. I'm not going to lie to you people. Today, I'm feeling a bit rough. I'm best man for my friend Matt's wedding. Big up to Matt. And we had the stag do on Saturday, and it was 30 degrees. And I'm still recovering. Age has got the better of me. But anyway, we are going to talk about Tottenham. We're going to talk about Ange Postecoglou, comments from Levy, comments from the media, comments from Jamie Redknapp. We're going to talk about all the transfers and the circus that comes with it. And something that I found today on Twitter, which was sent to me, which I'm going to share with you, that makes interesting conversation. Anyway, guys, let's go.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Do you know what, Maz? How you doing, by the way? You okay?
Good, mate. Good to see you.
So we've moved on to Will Stewart's software platform to do the shows.
Yeah. And
I had to upload all the bits and bobs that we had on our one to Will's, and I've uploaded the wrong intro. That was the original intro music.
Oh, man.
that's why it was so slow. But anyway. How you doing, Maz? How you been, bro? You been all right?
Yeah, good. Just been sitting back enjoying, the Tottenham transfer circus. It's come early this year, earlier than what we're used to. But all good.
It might have come early, but the circus is definitely back in town. Talking about circuses, JP, how are you?
Circus ain't never left, bro. Circus has been here fucking 24/7. No, I'm kind of quite good actually. I've chilled out. I've muted all my WhatsApp groups. I've had a nice week.
I tell you what is really interesting. Now the circus is in town. Is watching sort of like the same old things like repeat itself again without fail. The same sort of stuff happens every single season. It's been happening for so long now that it's just, you almost get worried when it doesn't happen.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. We're so conditioned to the circus that is the Tottenham transfer window. JP, not JP, Iggy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How you doing? How you guys doing? All right.
Iggy's looking sweet, isn't he? Look at him. Jeez, he looks clean. He looks shaven. He looks.
Yeah, when Tottenham
words late, JP.
Mate, I couldn't get on. I had to go down the roundabout. I've been locked out, so I knew you guys would be on and asking for codes and all of that would have been a nightmare. So I went down the scenic route. So. But yeah, all good. This is the effect of when Tottenham don't play. We feel refreshed. We've reset. I'm using box office as well.
I don't feel refreshed.
We're reset.
Oh,
have a week off still.
This is the off-season effect. It's the off-season effect, guys.
Mate, Saturday, I sorted out a stag for Matt's wedding, and we were drinking 15 hours straight in the heat, in the dark. Fantastic. I got home, the light, it was daylight, the birds were singing. I thought, no, I'm not 21. This isn't good. I've been a mess for 2 days. I've been absolutely shambles.
Can't do that anymore. I'm too old.
So you got onto Will's stream.
I can. Not regularly.
Anyway. No, mate. Honestly.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Your birthday,
Happy birthday, Guy.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Birthday, man.
It's his birthday.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
What are you doing here?
Big up everybody.
Where am I going to be on a Monday night?
You know, the only place to be.
What am I going to be on a Monday night?
1 minute. Why'd you keep that quiet?
I'm pretty sure I ain't. What would you want me to do? Like, go on top of the room and say, it's my birthday. What do you want me to do, man?
Where's his present,
I'm
Stel?
not
Where's his
18, I'm
present?
not
You should-
21, I'm
You
not
should know,
30.
Stel. You
Those
should know, Stel.
milestones, you know what I mean?
His present. All right, Iggy, happy birthday.
Thank you
Harry
very much.
Maguire. He's joining Tottenham Hotspur. It's going to be the new centre
What
back.
have I missed something in the last sort of 8 to 12 hours when you're now announcing Maguire at Spurs?
Well, that's
How
your birthday
much-
present.
That's
How
been
much
bubbling
is
for.
that? I was still on the David Raya vibe. Is that still going on, or
Well, I called up Levy. I said, "Look, it's Iggy's birthday. Can we do a little something to cheer him up?" He
Sort
goes,
it
"Yeah,
out.
I'll bring you Maguire. I'll
just get
sort
me a
out the defence."
goalkeeper? Get me a
Sort of defence.
goalkeeper. I will not stop going on about a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper and attacking mid. That's all I want. And of course, anything else is brilliant
bonus.
too. Centre back and all of that. But you know what, goalkeeper. People don't understand. Do you see what Pep Guardiola said about Onana at Inter?
We're going to get
The
into
way-
it.
Just
Actually, no, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. You can do it.
No. It was
No,
just,
it's your birthday. Do what
because
you
we
want.
was talking about goalkeepers. No.
Say
go
what
for
you
it.
want.
No.
Say what
no,
you want.
no,
I
birthday.
don't want to. No. Carry on.
No. It's your birthday. You have to now.
See, Stel, that's
About
why he's
what?
looking fresh, you know.
No. It's just Inter's plan was to stifle them in midfield and the goal, keeping the ball, and the goalkeeper played a massive part with that because he was part of that, like an extra outfield player essentially, and they weren't aware just how good Onana was at doing that, and it just meant that they couldn't really deal with their midfield. Listen, a game plan. Every manager and every team has a game plan, but there's one thing having a game plan, and another thing is your
Carrying
players
it out.
executing it. And Inter did it really well for long periods of the time. And listen, everyone was expecting a 3 or 4-0 pasting, but Inter a good side, man. I'll say that now that they lost the Champions League final, but they are a good side. There's no two ways about that.
It's just a matter
And
of
if they-
sustaining
if
it,
they-
wasn't
if
it,
they
for the
didn't
whole
have-
game?
If they had someone, if those chances that Lukaku had fell to Lautaro Martinez, they would have been goals.
Iggy, do you know what? I want to cover the Champions League final briefly. Let me just quickly say hello to everyone in the chat, and then we'll get into it because that is something I wanted to bring up tonight. So very quickly, a big up to top G14, Rodriguez in the house, Robert,
Big up,
Andy,
big up.
Cold Shot, Sammy and the boys. Big up to you guys, Rob, Jazz, Andy, Strasbourg, Steve, JJ, LJ, Totspur. We've got Ant in the building. Jammy Git as always. Tommy G, how you doing, bro? Hope you're all right. We've got Zafar, Alexandre, D-Boy, Apocalypse now, what a legend. Graham in the house, big up Graham. Wolves F1, Derek's in the house, Flash Errol, Skolzy, big up Phil P. Woo! DJ Marcus on the 1s and 2. We've got Phil Baby, Derek Jones, TJ Warren, big up to TJ and his channel. Make sure you subscribe over there. Darren's in the building, Sophie, the birthday boy's wife. Big up to Sophie. Maz. We've got Rob Frank. Is anyone else on this? Joe Kingsley.
Thank you very
big up
much
to
for the
you
birthday
guys.
wishes, guys.
Loads of birthday wishes for Iggy.
I appreciate it. Much appreciated.
Even an
And I
Italian
appreciate
one.
everyone being on here, guys, on an off season. There's
Buon
no football being
compleanno.
played. Buon compleanno. Grazie.
Big up DS. You said it so much better than me. Full ball. Deathlow, Glenn. We've also got in the house
like it.
Minerals.
Big
Big
up.
up Minerals. We've got
Minerals.
Jazz Fusion. Who else we got here? Amit. Big up to Amit. Hope you well. We've got Ant. We've got Dexter. H. Big up H. Super chat from Imi who says, "Happy birthday, Papa Iggy."
Big
What's
up.
up,
Thank
big
you very
papa?
much.
Yes, cake.
Appreciate it. Listen, it's
Paul
great to have
Lanford,
so many
Ron.
on, man. Off season, no football.
My name is
Everyone's
Jeff.
here, man.
Big up everyone, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the channel. So let's get straight into it then, because Iggy's already started the chat. Look, whether we like it, whether we hate it, whether we agree with it, whatever you say, listen, hats off to them. To do a treble is phenomenal. We saw Manchester United do it in '99. We saw Barcelona do it. We've seen Was it Inter Milan with Mourinho? Did he do a treble?
Yeah,
Inter?
Jose did it in
Mhm.
2010.
Jose did it, and now we've seen Pep do it in Man City. Look, they are the best team in the world. They've cleaned up. They've absolutely smashed it out of the park.
Without De Bruyne as well.
De Bruyne going off injured.
I was gutted for him, though.
What do you make about them winning the treble on two fronts? First of all, they didn't actually play that well in the final, and two, I don't know about you guys, but when Inter did it with Jose, when Man United did it with Alex Ferguson, I thought it felt even more special because the competition was more tighter. Whereas with City, we all said we kind of expect them to do it. So how do you guys feel about that? Iggy, pick up from where you left off.
Listen, I say again, everyone thought it'd be a 3 or 4, 5-0, sort of thrashing. I knew. I actually confessed. I thought, you know what, I got a bad feeling leading up to the game. I said, I got a bad feeling that Inter might do it. And listen, on the chances alone, they had better chances than Man City had. Certainly more clear-cut chances. I still can't believe like Lukaku didn't score from 6 yards out with that header. It just bounced off. It bounced off the
Straight out.
goalkeeper's
It
knee,
was
and then
straight-
had
straight at Edison,
DeMarco
wasn't it?
hitting the bar, and the header rebounded, and he hit it at Lukaku's feet. They had so many like points. I just thought if they get that goal, I don't know if Man City can get back into it. And I thought if Inter had taken the lead, I don't know, because I felt the tie swing their way, especially after De Bruyne went off, because all of a sudden things have changed. And listen, Man City can pick a moment any given time. They had players like you lose De Bruyne, you got Foden, and Foden's world class, man. Let's have it. He is a quality player.
I thought John Stones and Rodri were the two standout players.
Listen,
Stones
Rodri was amazing for me, man of the match. Rodri's been amazing all season. He's been amazing all season. Putting Stones in midfield and dropping Carl Walker, I thought was a real.
Sorry, Iggy, just very quickly. Happy birthday, Iggy. Have a beer on me. You got a beer there from H.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Listen. At the end of the day, I'm relieved that they won it. And obviously, because I wouldn't have been able to hear the end of it if Inter had gone ahead to win it. But having said that,
Iggy, another drink. Mark Swift.
Woo!
There you go.
Oh,
in
Mark,
fact, this is a bottle of wine. This is a bottle of wine here.
yeah, it's more.
Got a bottle of
Mark,
vino.
appreciate it, man. Big up, everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I don't know what to say, man. But yeah,
Drink.
Listen,
drink.
congrats to Man City, man. At the end of the day,
What you should do is have a bottle there every time someone gives a super
just-
chat. You knock one back.
the pressure Man City would have been on for that game, as well as Inter. I think the pressure was more Man City winning it rather than Inter. I think Inter probably had they went there probably zero expectations really compared to everyone else. So you could see there was shitloads of pressure, 100%. And but they found a way.
I don't know if it was zero expectations.
In like any team against Man City is going to be up.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
pressure,
You're
going to be more so Man City than it is on whoever plays them.
Yeah, you're going to be up against it, aren't you?
Yeah. How fitting was it that Rodri will go and get the goal? I mean, it's just been an
Sweet strike
what
as
a
well.
quality goal that was.
Sweet
An
strike as well,
incredible
wasn't it?
player.
Oh, beautiful, man. He caressed it.
Great goal. I really enjoyed the game. I have to say.
I was impressed more so in the first half how organised Inter were. I think Bastoni looked really good. I paid extra attention to him, thinking, oh bloody hell, we could have possibly, wildest dreams maybe would have got him, but we didn't, obviously. And as for Lukaku, he looked about 3-4 stone overweight. He didn't look like the Lukaku of Conte when he was lean and he seemed sharp. He looked like he hasn't played all season.
He hasn't really been playing, has he?
No.
Maybe that's why.
Deco been playing, but obviously Deco's only got so many minutes. He can play like an hour, 70 minutes, and then after they wanted to use the freshness of Lukaku. Otherwise, if Lukaku had been like Maz said, the Conte Lukaku, there's no way he wouldn't have started that game. But like I said, I felt like if those chances had fallen to Martinez, it would have been a different game.
Yeah.
Martinez played well. I don't know if he played his best, but he played well.
Yeah. It's tough because their defense, Man City's defense, did really well, and I thought they had Inter had the beating on them in the wide areas as well. Like I thought the two wing backs, DeMarco and what's his name, Dumfries, done really well against Grealish. Forced Grealish having to do a lot of defensive work. But the midfield was the one. The midfield was the area where Inter were not giving Man City any time whatsoever. They were aggressive for long periods of the game. It was clearly part of the plan. And like I said, the plan is always there. It's just whether your team can execute it in the way that the manager wants. That's when you know. And listen, like sometimes you do need a bit of good fortune to go your way. Look at that Ederson save with his knee. He didn't even know anything about it. It's just one of them ones, you know. It's just
Right place, right time.
Short time.
There was
I think what I was going to say, still, in terms of your question, the fact that it feels different, I think Man City have made it like that because the way they've been and the type of football they play and the goals they've scored and stuff like that, it's almost made it as if everyone just thought it was an inevitable kind of like result that was going to happen. And as you were saying, you know, fair play to Inter for sticking it out, I guess, and kind of like frustrating them as much as possible. But you kind of probably still always thought, do you know what, one break, can they carry it on for a full 95 minutes or whatever it is, right? And that was always going to be the ask.
It's just knowing that you can't play toe to toe with them, and you have to have a level of, you know, you're not going to have the possession for long periods of the game. So you know, as a team, you've got to move as one. But also, when you do go forward to attack them, and you know, stifling in their midfield, pressing in the right moments, and then attacking them and exposing them. Tottenham have done that really well, like in the last few seasons. You know, even away, as we've done it really well. We go long periods without the ball, and then when we do try and get in behind them, we try and get in there with 2 or 3 passes. Inter yesterday, we're getting on goal like literally 2, max 3 passes, and that's the game plan you got to have to try and get. Not everyone does that or has the patience to do it.
Even started off shaky, didn't it? With Ederson kicking the ball wide and stuff like that. You know, it's almost like he wasn't. I don't know if he kind of
they weren't given any time, were
and
they?
stuff like
They weren't
that.
given any time.
He was flapping a bit. But even with the league still, like I know we all wanted them to get in front of him. Like we all wanted them to get in front of Arsenal, but you kind of saw the way they came, didn't they? They just like it was kind of almost like a, you know, like you're in your, I don't know, kind of Golf GTI, and then like a Formula One car, it's just like picking up speed, and as you're getting closer to the line, it's just, you know what's going to happen.
I think the difference was Arsenal crashed their Golf GTI. They just kept going, they just slammed it into the central reservation, and I didn't think Arsenal would collapse against teams like Southampton at home, who got relegated, and to blow a 2-0 lead away to West Ham.
That's the pressure, though, isn't it? Come to us the end of. That's the business part of the season.
Lack of experience, manager.
Playing the same players week in, week out. They run out of steam, man.
Squad's big, isn't it? A squad is massive come the end of the season.
He couldn't make the changes, and he got a couple of injuries, and a couple of players just dipped a little bit, and they didn't have the changes. I was surprised not to see players like Smith Rowe, who had become available again, weren't playing at all. It just kept going with Martinelli, and then the Saliba injury, and then
that almost sends a message to the squad that he doesn't trust them, which in itself can prove a problem, right, in those latter stages of the season.
What do you guys make of Stones in midfield? I don't know why.
It's kind of been a revelation, really, isn't it?
Just a quick big up to Apocalypse Now for becoming a channel member. Thank you, Apocalypse.
Woo!
Big up. Gundogan for me was another player, was absolute mustard. Çalhanoğlu, Strasbourg, I thought Çalhanoğlu was shy on the night. He went missing. He just didn't turn up. And that's the problem with Çalhanoğlu that you got. He goes for 2-3 games really well, and then he goes 8, 9, 10 games, he goes missing. And in the real important, when the pressure is high, Çalhanoğlu does not turn up, and it's been happening. I've watched him a lot of games, and when like games like Saturday night, he didn't turn up for that. And that's Hakan all the way
See,
through.
the thing is, right? Do you know what frustrates me with this league title, Mark 2 golf, the old Clipper. When I've been on many a show when I've defended Pochettino, and I've argued that if you look back at the season, we came second to Leicester. Harry Kane was out for a month, then he came back. Then Toby Alderweireld was out for a month. Then I think Jan Vertonghen was out for 2 weeks. Eriksen was out for 3 weeks. We kept picking up these injuries, and whoever came on the pitch was never a substitute. And when I look at that season, we played over 65 games. Leicester played under 45. So we played 20 more games than Leicester, picking up some key injuries along the way as well. Leicester didn't have one key injury to any of their main players, N'Golo Kante, Vardy, Schmeichel,
they had one game a week still.
Mahrez. Right. So when I look at it, I think, do you know, there's a reason why Leicester won the league. They were just, their squad was better primed for it. We weren't. And the same thing basically happened to Arsenal this year. Their squad just didn't handle being in Carabao Cup, FA Cup, even though they went out of those competitions, Europa Cup, League. They couldn't do it. And it's exactly what happened to us. The exact same freaking thing. The difference is they get told, well done. We're Spursy, bottle jobs, and that's why I went in hard on the Arsenal fans. Like, you're not getting away with this. You are not getting away with this because I remember what we went through in the same situation.
No, still the
they
biggest
still didn't get the same amount of points
top.
as us, though. Were they? I'm like, they still didn't get the same amount of points.
Yeah,
as
we got
us.
more
They
points.
They got less points,
and we weren't top, so we didn't bottle it.
You cannot go through
293 days or something, wasn't it, at the top?
You cannot go through a season.
240.
I don't know a team. Not one team has ever gone through a season where you don't have a blip 2-3 games in the season or a month. There's always a moment, a blip in a season, and they hadn't gone through that. And you cannot finish a season without. So their blip, unfortunately for them, came at the worst possible time, and that's the reality of it.
Oh well, ho hum.
Oh yeah, it is. Listen. Do we care? Not particularly. But we just talking about what happened.
City were good.
City are a great side, man, and you just know they're going to make that squad even more better next season.
As much
that's the terrifying bit.
Do you know what, though, Iggy? I was watching some of their ceremony earlier, with them and their open top bus and stuff. Quite envious, obviously. Just thinking, I remember when I was 11. Walking down Tottenham High Road with when they had the FA Cup and stuff like that, and it was that's the trouble, right? All those people. Imagine if Spurs won one cup, the amount of people that would be down.
Well, it's funny you say that, JP, because before the Champions League final, something else happened, and this is going to sting. West Ham won the Conference Cup, which means they're now in the Europa Cup, a high level of European competition we desperately wanted as consolation for not getting top 4. And this looks great, doesn't it? They since a trophy. This was on Wednesday last week. 5,582 days. Portsmouth ahead of us. Birmingham, Swansea, Wigan, all the big six. Leicester, West Ham. At the end of the day, any which way anyone looks at it, right? West Ham winning that trophy was the biggest. Just not stab in the back. It was the biggest egg on your face, Tottenham. And even to Arsenal a little bit, because West Ham have had a more successful season than Arsenal. And Arsenal fans are going to get upset by it. And I know you're all going to lose your minds because you got second. They won a trophy. You didn't.
It's a truth,
we didn't win a trophy, and we finished out of Europe. So we're super in the mud. But West Ham fans are really happy.
I'll correct that slightly still. It's egg on the face probably for us Spurs fans, right?
Oh, yeah. We're the ones
up there, he don't
really
give a monkeys.
No,
he's sitting counting his beans and thinking of his next...
London club that won a trophy. That's the reality.
It's true. It's true.
They're See, this is what I was saying. On the evening of that very Conference League Cup final, I said, I wonder how if West Ham were to win tonight. Listen, it's on there. It's on the channel. I actually uploaded it. I said on the night, do you think the fans will fit if West Ham were to win tonight? Or Fiorentina, I said at the time, if either of these clubs were to win the trophy tonight, which was a 50% chance for both, Fiorentina finishing 8th or 9th in the league, I can't remember now. West Ham 15th in the league. Do you think any of these fans will wake up tomorrow morning having won that trophy and think to themselves, really upset that we finished 15th in the league? Or will they be ecstatic about winning the trophy?
Ecstatic.
So
So
that
best
tells
season they've
me,
had.
what are we talking about? Finishing 4th, 5th, Champions League, this, that, and the other,
Iggy,
when you ain't won a trophy? Who
don't you
wouldn't
think though Pochettino's a little bit to blame as well for this? Where
Yeah,
he
he
didn't take them seriously either, did he?
Yeah, but
The
that
cups.
was filtered. That was filtered by the club. The club gave the priority to
Yeah, of
uh,
course. Yeah.
he'd get spoken
We
to and
know
say
we know
leave
for
it.
a fact he was told to prioritize, because if he wasn't told to prioritize, then Jose wouldn't have got sacked before the Carabao Cup final.
My bad.
I think that's
I'm in the
Yeah.
top. I'm talking about in the top tier. But okay, Leighton Orient won a trophy. Fair enough.
Listen, you can't say one thing wrong on this show, because there'll be someone that just
No, that was
Pow.
Graham rightly. Graham rightly corrects me. I meant with the
Not
only
the
London
only
club
team in
in the
London.
Premier League. Maybe I should have been a bit more specific.
Mate, do you know how many things
in
I
my
say wrong and I'm
response.
corrected every week? Don't worry about it. It's okay.
I should have been more specific in my response. But
It's
no,
okay.
but the reality of the
I think-
matter is that anyone would take finishing out of all the European places, but coming away with it. And West Ham will be in the Europa next season, so they'll still be in Europe, even if they didn't qualify. So what I'm trying to say, at the end of the day, the only thing that truly matters to a fan, above all else, is winning the trophy. Now, if you don't win the trophy and you're out of Europe altogether,
I
then
don't
it's a
know,
different
Iggy.
story.
I don't know. I think a lot of fans would just take good football and be satisfied. I've never thought that would be the case. But I think
can
at
only
Tottenham,
speak for
But
myself.
we've been there and done that though, still, haven't we? And the
But I
fans
think-
were
And won
complaining,
nothing.
we need
He
to
has-
win
he's
now,
not won
manager. It's not
anything.
taking us to
Yeah.
the next level and all that bullshit.
But if you said to fans, right, this season coming up off the back of the 4 just gone, if you said to them, right, we're going to play pragmatic defensive football, it's not going to be good to watch, but we'll get an FA Cup at the end of it, or we can have exciting, entertaining football and go for top 4, what would you take? I bet you the majority would take the exciting football.
I was Jose in, I was Conte in.
But is that on the back? Is that on the back
managers being
of?
sacked?
Is that on the back of the last 2 seasons, though? Do you think still?
It's off the back of fans always turning on a manager. Like, as much as fans sang "Bring back Poch, he's magic," a lot of them turned on him. I won't forget that.
Yeah.
I can't.
But I think it's just a case of they just want good football, and fans only turned on Poch when the football went bad, and we're losing 3-0 away, 3-0 here.
Oh, we didn't win. Yeah, we didn't win an away
say-
game for God knows how long, did we?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say I turned on Poch. I think near the end, to me, it was obvious he wanted. He just lost interest, and by then I thought, well, put us out of our misery and go, because he got so bad.
But Maz, if you remember, mate, there were things put in place before Pochettino lost interest. There was a lot. I remember one of the biggest things were that summer not dealing with players that weren't quite committed.
Totally agree. I'm not.
Remember, like the Ericsson situation, the defenders.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the leagues. There were so many things that weren't addressed.
I agree. It's not to he should never have gone.
I know you're not talking against Pochettino. I know what you mean.
But for me,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. One of our own, right? One of our own, Phil P. I'm telling you, most fans would take good football ahead of trophies right now.
But I can't.
I can't buy into that. But I'm in the minority. I've accepted I am in the minority of thinking now.
The thing is, for me, I can't think about good football if we don't back the managers. If we back the manager and the football's rubbish and we're not getting the results, then that's a different story. For me, I can't demand good football if I know that the board is not backing the managers properly, because it's not giving them the tools to play the good football in the first place. Not that Jose would have played brilliant football. We know what his football style is. But Conte, in his first season with us, I thought the football near the end, the last 10 games, was brilliant.
A piece of metal.
It's one where I always thought fans wanted trophies and silverware, but I think definitely at Tottenham, the expectation of success is not based on winning trophies. It's on being entertained, and that for me is falling right into the hands of Levy, because Levy, all they know now is if we just entertain them, we're safe, and I think that's bad news personally. You know?
I think fans have just resigned to the fact that we're not going to win a trophy, and they're just like, you know what? If I'm not going to win a trophy, I might as well just be entertained and watch a bit of good football.
Should be demanding more. This is
what's happened
Should
though.
not
I
be
don't think they
accepting
don't
it.
want to win it. I don't think even the comments I'm reading it. I like to think it's because we've been sucked into saying just be happy with good football and shut your mouths. Don't worry about trophies. It's not all you know. Don't worry about winning. I think that's the part that I think is just accepting the fact that we ain't going to win a trophy, and I can't, guys.
Levy's
cannot
conditioned them.
and will
Levy's
not. Yeah, I
conditioned
will
everyone.
not ever accept not winning trophies, or at least compete. I'm not saying we're gonna win trophies all the time, but be in a situation where you're competing for them. Yes.
What will keep that alive though is all of the banter and the number of days clocking up. The longer it goes that we're not winning something, the more banter's going to come our way. Even worse than we've ever had it.
It can get a lot worse. I mean, it's bad when I see those little tweets that Stel just put up now. You know, 0 trophies. West Ham got the one now. You know, you see that like listen, we laugh it off
you know,
because what can we possibly do? But you know what? They sting,
us.
man. Of course they sting. They sting. Anyone that tells me that, I can't believe anyone will be looking at those like little banter. You know, we're literally a banter club. Let's have it right, yeah. We are bantered by absolutely everyone. Now West Ham have just got on that saddle on that, you know, on top of the saddle of the horse. Now we'll get bantered by them as well. And it's just like, at what point do you say, oh, you're very funny,
just have to go like that,
almost like accepting it, and I can't get on board with it. I just simply can and will not be or ever be on board with that way of thinking. I won't. I will always put the pressure on I will always never be afraid to point the fingers at where I feel the fault is at, and I can't ever accept that a team like Tottenham cannot even domestically, I'm not talking about Europe, but from the domestic level, be challenging for things like the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. Absolutely no way. League is we are going further and further down, and it's not for everyone. The league, I know that.
Yeah.
And the teams are going for them are getting stronger and stronger, and we are falling way down the pecking order. But Carabao and FA Cup, I'm sorry.
Haven't we got the record for losing the most semi-finals or something like that? Is it 8 or 9 semi-finals in a row that we've lost or something?
Yeah, I think we have semi-finals. Yeah, we do.
So in a weird way, it's not as if we're not getting the opportunities, but it's like as soon as there's this
mentality ain't there, man.
It's that mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, that slight inkling that we're going to win. It's like Levy goes, no, top 4 boys.
Maz, I think what it is for a lot of semi-finals, we get to them, and then we come up against a real giant in English football who've just got a better squad 9 times out of 10, and we just don't have the ability to change it from the bench when it's tight. And I go back to that semi-final that so many fans blamed Poch for because he started Heung-min Son. I don't buy that, because in football, when you coach, when you manage, things don't go to plan, and it's how you react. And whatever anyone says, it was 2-2 in that game, and we were behind twice. Twice we came back. Twice we showed resiliency. And at 2-2, you're thinking, right, who's going to unpick the lock and win it now? And they brought on 3 top players, including Eden Hazard. On Hazard and stuff. All we had was Kyle Walker.
Nothing.
Yeah. That's where the game was won. That was the moment where we had no way to respond to what they did. And I know Poch will get the blame, and a lot of fans do, but I think that's just, it's too simple just to say, oh, because Son started at left back, the whole team lost the game.
It's an endemic problem of Levy's transfer policy, right? He's like, you know, tinkering around the edges, but rather than just continually strengthening season in, season out, getting, as Conte said, every season you've got to buy those 50, 60 million pound players, and you do that consistently. We went 3 transfer windows with signing a full, didn't we?
But the truth of the matter is, in modern day football, and you saw it the other night as well, which is Champions League football. But any games you see, there's 5 substitutes now. 5. You can make up to 5 subs. So if a team's more prepared than you, and they've got the players on the bench who can impact the players, and with 5 subs, let's have it right, you can impact the game a lot. Even if things are not going your way, if you've got good subs on the bench, and the manager can make up to 5 of them, that's nearly half a team that he can change.
It's a big impact in the game,
It's a massive impact. And even if you're doing well against that team who've got a big bench, they'll make those 5 subs and they'll impact it, and your momentum will go completely against you if you don't have solutions on the bench. So today, more than ever, you need to have the squad, because with 5 subs, I don't care how good you are against those top teams who let's have it right. There are 3 teams up there. They've got subs on the bench that will walk into any of all the teams from 6, 7, 8 downwards. So Man City might have an off day, and I think with the old 2 or 3 subs, you might have got away with it. You might have even got a win. But when Pep sees that his team ain't quite right, he goes, right, you, and you, get them all on. And they'll so it's this 5 substitutions actually favour the more powerful teams rather than the teams that haven't got quite. We fall into that category with not a big squad. So you might think, oh, we've got a good run against, and then they make the subs and you're dead again. So we need to get into, if we want to start winning more games, we need to buy into that, because that's the way the football is going. And you can't think you're going to scrimp and save him and there. Go for the free transfer where possible. Try and get those players in, and then actually go and get the 2 or 3 players you really want and spend the money on them.
Talking about transfers, what do you lot want to cover first? Okay, because we've got comments from Levy this week. We've got comments from Ange, and we've got the transfer signings. What would you rather start with? Well,
I don't ruin my night by talking about Levy, man. Don't ruin my. I mean, do you know what? Let's get it over with. Let's do like literally 5 minutes of it, and then go on to the better stuff.
All right, so
I don't think ruining the night talking about Levy is going to do me any favors.
All right, we'll go with some comments from Levy, and then we'll go on to the transfers, and we'll go on to Ange as well. So
put a timer.
This egg timer. So on financial fair play, he said changing UEFA rules mean that there will be a greater cost controls and scrutiny of revenue sources and on the percentage that is spent on transfers and wages in order to get to a much more sustainable business model. This will reduce the risk of clubs going out of business, but the rules need to be applied. So what do you make of that? Is he just bringing up the FFP to say, look, I'm doing it the right way so that we meet the rules, or is he just trying to find excuses to why we don't push on and do what we need to do as a club if we want to be successful?
I heard someone earlier saying Man City and all these accusations, shall we say, they've got against them, and potentially it's still been investigated or whatever. Another guy was like, look, at the end of the day, Man City have won these trophies, right? It will take about 20, 40, 50 years or whatever, because they will just battle it out in court, right? It will never ever get proven, I don't think. It's a game that the big boys play, right? If you want to if you want to be at the big table, you want to eat at the big table, you got to play the big boy games.
I'll tell you how I took it, right? And this is what frustrates me the most with the chairman. What he said is not false. He's right. If the FFP rule comes in, and he did say, but it must be, applied. These FFP rules will shake it up in terms of sources of income, as long as, like you said, it has to be forced. But that doesn't deflect from the fact that every other club is going to have to deal with this rule as well, right? They can't all just go and break the rule. So they're all going to prepare for it as well. It's a bit like when he said, Spurs fans get upset when we chop and change managers, but in Europe it's normal. Just because in Europe it's normal, that doesn't justify the failure here. He'll always find a fact to justify the failure, as opposed to say, but could I have done better? Could I have kept Mourinho for that final? Could I have maybe listened to Poch and done the painful rebuild? He'll deflect away from what he could have done better and look at a fact elsewhere and use it as a way to just appease half the fan base. That's how I look at it with this. I just feel like, yeah, you're not wrong with what you're saying, but mate,
there's no mea culpa. There never has been.
You can't justify your actions in the past by this.
That's the part that kills me. Like, there's never any recognition of self-blame. There's no. I think we didn't quite get this right. And actually, accountability. Yeah. How many times we used that word accountability?
Hold your hands together. I fucked up.
And they will never outright say what the objectives are for the next season. I would love to have somebody from the club to come out and say our objective for this season under Ange and whatever else is this is what we plan to do this season. This is the target. This is what we will do as a team and so forth. And actually try and put things in place. The reason why they don't want to do that and they never speak of doing that is because of what? Accountability. They don't want you at the end of the season to say, but you said at the beginning of the season, you'll do this, this, that. This is why Tottenham, I'm talking about whoever speaks. No one ever speaks for that club because they don't want to be held accountable. And unfortunately, you will never achieve anything if you don't come out outrightly and speak to the fans and say, what is the objectives? You know why? You know why the objectives need to be shared with the fans? Because they are the ones that need to get on board with it first and foremost. So when you do have the hiccups during the season, when you might go with a 2, 3, 4, 5 games where you start losing, rather than the fans turning on the manager, they know exactly what it is. This is a transition period that we're going through, and we should be actually supporting the manager so he feels that he can ride that storm so it come out of it the other end. But what happens? The objectives don't get shared. The fans can't get on board with it. So who do we take it out on? We take it out on the managers, as we always do. And the guys that should be sharing those very things that I'm talking about always get away with it. And this is the reason why. And this has been going on for years. We've had 16 managers, man. 16 managers in 23 years.
I
Surely
can't add any
start
more to
learning
what
now.
Stel and Iggy have just said. It's perfect. So
you know why, Maz? It's a film that I've seen over and over again. And I won't fall for it all the time, man.
You know, it's beggars belief that you have someone as from a financial point of view successful as Daniel Levy in terms of what he's created, yet he's fully incapable of self-reflection and thinking, right, what have I done last season that didn't work? Right, let me change this tack to see what would happen, you know. And I can't remember where I heard this from, but I think it was actually Tim Sherwood on that show he done with Sam Allardyce, where he says, oh, you know, he's got a lot of people talking to him and he sort of listens to the last person who speaks in his ear, you know. And it's just like, how can you run a club like that? And this is why we're in the mess we're in. So I mean that's all I'm going to say on it. You two have summed it up perfectly. So
I did hear Ali Goldmaz saying that's something that Postecoglou is not going to take. At the end of the day, if that culture happens and suddenly these people start going up to Daniel,
I hope about Conte and Jose. We heard this before, JP.
What's this DHST Trust survey?
Tottenham Hotspur.
Over 100 questions. Some questions on how fans feel about Enoch. I'm just reading it one of the comments. I wasn't aware of it. I must admit.
Tick box.
The last 2 or 3 days I've been switched off, so I've not been. I feel
like... to the members, isn't it?
There's another quote that came out this week. The notion that Tottenham haven't backed certain managers is incorrect. Levy denies that he hasn't backed managers. We're currently paying the price where some of the acquisitions have not turned out to be as we hoped. Now, when he says we, I'd like to know who he's referring to. We wanted Postecoglou to play attacking football and trust the academy. So what do you take of it when he says that they haven't backed certain managers is false, and where he says we're paying the price where some of the signings didn't turn out how they hoped?
I'll answer it.
He's put the signings on the managers, isn't he?
Go on, Maz.
He hasn't backed the managers because the managers have come out and said that they haven't been backed. So, I believe the managers because the 2 managers that have basically come out and said that is Jose and Conte, and Poch even said it as well, actually. So he hasn't backed the managers, and if he thinks he's backed them, he's not backed them in the way that the managers themselves thought they needed to be backed. So there's a disconnect there, and you know, we could go down the rabbit hole and say, okay, what does backed mean? And I don't even think Daniel Levy really knows what backed or backing the manager really means. I think that's the problem right there. So it's you know, trying trying to blame the managers for the recruitment or bad purchasing of the players. Well, we also know that the players weren't those managers' signings. They didn't want them.
It's
So
all
it's
swerving
like,
it.
well,
I think
it's
technically
it's
he's
swerving
saying
it. It's
I
ridiculous.
I have backed the managers with the players that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Nice one, JJ.
He's
Literally,
looking at it
no,
like an accountant. He's
have.
looking, okay, I've spent 200 million, I've backed him. No, you know, Stealth bangs on about this every single week, every day, right? It's not the amount of money he spent; is the spending itself is poor, bad
How you spend
recruitment.
it. How
It's
you
how you
spend it.
spend it precisely, and it's just stupid deflection, isn't it? It's just ridiculous.
Mate, Spurs spend the money. We spent £500 million the last 4 years. There's no doubt we spend money,
See,
but we mismanage it.
isn't that another annoying fact? You spent 500 million. 500 million. And we've got fucking what? 3 left backs, wing backs, 2, 3
JP,
right
JP,
wing backs,
it's like me giving
no
you.
defenders,
JP, I'll give you a
top
pot
cap.
of money. I'll give you a pot. You get a pot of money, and I'll say, JP, I want that, and that. Go out and get it for me. And then you come back and you're like, but JP, you just bought me this, and this. I asked for that, and that. You've spent the money, but you didn't bring me what I asked for that, and you brought me this. So the money's there. It's been spent, but it's just not been spent on what's been asked of. That's
like,
half of the problem.
Look,
Iggy,
the fact,
Iggy, we're working on YouTube. I need a mic.
Yeah, come back with headphones.
You got my headphones. They're really nice headphones. They're soft.
They're nice, but one what I asked for.
You can't hear the fuck what I'm saying.
I think you went a bit overpriced on these, but what happened to what I asked for? Yeah, don't worry about that. I thought they were a bargain. There you go. Have these.
Speak louder.
Just Fly, to answer your question about Richarlison, if you listened to our channel during the transfer window last year, you would have perhaps maybe thought that Richarlison isn't going to do well. Like we said he wouldn't. We said he's overrated. So, I don't know. Each to their own. You can't be too negative.
Get more than one goal.
You're the problem. I'm the problem.
I thought he'd get more than one goal.
Listen, he's an average
player. Couldn't be that bad. Do you know what I mean?
One goal. Still, even you would have thought he would have got more than one goal.
Even if you got 3 or 4, it's still a waste of money.
He did get 2 in the Champions League.
Mate, he got booked 4 times. He scored, took his shirt off, got booked, and then the goals was disallowed, and his yellow card still stood.
For me,
he was one away from suspension.
When you spend 60 million,
took his shirt off 4 times, got booked 4 times. They rescinded the goal, but not the yellow cards. My man was one yellow card away from suspension. What the actual fuck, man? You gotta laugh, guys. You gotta laugh. Honestly, you lose your marbles otherwise.
Well, we spent all season being miserable. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, you gotta laugh. That's all we got.
I just think, I said it before. Like when you sign a player, and they've got names like Batty Goal, Class A, R9. We sign Chicken Royales, Pigeons. That should say, hold on a minute. What? It's not very ferocious. Doesn't sound very strong.
Comparing himself to R9 with the Brazil flag.
He's got tattoos of them on his back, man.
It's like having a club badge and the animal's a hamster or a guinea pig. It's like
lost the plot.
What is that? If you're gonna have an animal, a lion, a tiger, at least the fighting cockerel or whatever, pigeon. Come on, man. other than shitting on car windscreens, what do they do?
He's shit houser, eh?
There you go. There's another one. Oh no, we've done that one already. Sorry. Oh yeah. So, Harry Redknapp took a dig at Daniel Levy. This is the Football.London where Alistair Gold writes for. He took a dig amid the transfer window opening up, and he basically questioned the policy of the club. I took some quotes. Harry Redknapp has jokingly sent a dig at Daniel Levy. Redknapp spent 4 years at Spurs, blah, blah, blah. He poked fun at his former boss, Levy, claimed that the Lily White's transfer chief would sell his own grandmother at the right price. When asked if Tottenham and Chelsea would sell players to each other, Redknapp said, yeah. Daniel don't care who he sells to, as long as he gets the money. Daniel Levy will sell to anybody. And then he said he'd sell his grandmother if he can get the right price. Redknapp's jokes came after he had revealed he wanted to sign former Chelsea winger Arjen Robben during his time at Spurs, but we didn't get him. So, listen, it's come at a time where all eyes are on the transfer window, because that's what we're all looking at now. Is this a well-timed intervention by Harry Redknapp to stoke the fire, to poke the bear, that is Daniel Levy into action? Or is he just saying, you know what, this guy ain't going to change, I'm just going to throw a few grenades into the pot?
He hasn't been the only one, though, has he? There's been a few of them.
I think you're just seeing more and more people coming out and saying more and more stuff now. I mean, this is what we want. We want the pressure to be on Daniel Levy, but is he going to change? I don't think Daniel Levy changes for anyone.
He ain't changing. Once people realise that, they'll fucking make a bigger stand to get him out, which is.
This pressure can only open up the eyes of people that have had them closed.
Precisely, and hopefully people wake up and come to the protest. But it's what that quote reminds me of is, didn't Paratici come and basically say, we shouldn't be signing players at the back end of the window, they need to be done early. Yet when he comes here, apart from maybe one or two random nobody signings, all the signings still get done near the end of the season, near the end of the transfer window. You know, so why didn't Paratici say, Daniel, what the fuck? I don't understand why
the thing is, these people probably do.
Don't have the bollocks to say to him, hold on a minute, you brought me in to do this job. This is what I stand for. If you're not going to let me do it, why am I here? It seems like everyone sort of just changes to fit Tottenham rather than being
changes
what they are, what made them successful. Yeah.
But it's almost like, I mean, I don't know if they get a good wage or anything like that. I'm sure they probably kind of like get a reasonable wage. It's almost as if once they come, they're just happy to bow down and take their wage and kind of like almost just be yes people, right?
The thing is, when you're contracted and you've been told, this is like, okay, I want you to come here and do this, and the other. You sign on the dotted line, get your wages for it, and then slowly, what tends to happen? A lot of them start to see it for what it is, and it ain't quite what was spoken about, and then they either start falling out of love with the job itself, become disillusioned, or just say, do you know what? I'll just do what I can do, what I'm permitted to do, and what they actually signed to do, it goes out the window, and or they'll blow up in the way that Conte did, and then just leave. It's just two types, and unfortunately, what they sign up for, it doesn't end up happening for one reason or another.
If you're not allowed to flourish at your job or at your role or do the things, like you don't get trusted to do the things that you've been brought in to do, you get frustrated, don't you? You just go, okay, well, I'll just do the bare minimum and look for a freaking another job, which is kind of
Paul Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell. Exactly. Paul Mitchell. Even went on gardening leave. He's gone away and just proved, if you give him the tools, if you give him the trust, look what he can do for you.
I know we're going to go on and talk about Ange, but
yeah, let's do that. Enough of Levy. Let's
move on from Levy. But I
5
really
minutes
do
ago.
hope that
was long time ago.
When Postecoglou comes in, he really sticks by what he believes in and what got him to where he is today. We've all seen the documentaries and everything that's been written about him and everything. And as Stel says, he doesn't come with any baggage. Everyone says great things about him. And it's really well documented.
We'll sort that out.
And it's been really well documented that he's got his methods and he doesn't deviate from his methods. But I think for me this really will be his litmus test. If he comes into Spurs and he changes completely what he's all about for Spurs, then I can't see it ending well. And I agree with Stelios and the videos and your videos as well, Iggy. You know, if we come, and I said this last week as well, if we come into the start of the season and we've got Sanchez, Davies, Dyer still in that team, nothing has changed.
Right.
And
So
Ryan Mason as well.
Maz, I did a video today. I put it out, and I said, for me, I will judge everything. 11 p.m., 31st of August, the transfer window ends. If I see Dyer, Sanchez, Long Gap, who's the other plum? Davies at this club, nothing has changed. Not a damn thing. And let's go on to Postecoglou, because he made that. Listen, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm worried. I'm saying it now. I'm very concerned. And I'm not wrong about these things normally when I see what I see. Now, I've said I'm going to get behind the manager. I always get behind the manager. I've never turned on any manager. Even Nuno, I never chanted Nuno out. I turned on Levy. I'll get behind this guy. I like the fact, like you said, Maz, he comes with no baggage. I think that's brilliant. We need that. There's no history of controversy and media bust-ups and player feuds and whatnot. He does play good football. There's a lot of ticks. There's a lot of concerns as well. Never done it at elite level. Never been at a big club. But he released a video. The club released a video the other day where he said, "I'm excited to get, I'm excited to get going, to start playing good football." All right. Sorry for the crap accent, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Watching that, I'm worried because it looked so scripted. It looked so PR.
He
and
didn't
it
say
looked
make us proud. Are you all right?
He put the word proud in there. He put the word proud in there.
No,
He
said he'll make build a team that you would be proud of. That's what he said.
Right.
Yeah.
Maz, listen, it's not what he said that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about what he said. It's the fact it's been written for him. That to me says they've got control of him. That only ends up one way. I hope I'm so wrong.
Still, I'm gonna disagree, and the reason why I disagree is I've
go for it. This is my gut instinct.
Yeah.
Reading it, I'm thinking.
I've seen
no.
so many of his interviews and stuff that he's said in the past. It's a lot of the same stuff he says at every single club he goes to, right? And that's what makes me think. When I saw that interview, I was like, oh my God, this has got shades of Nuno. But then I thought, well, hold on a minute. It sounds exactly the same as what he said when he went to Celtic and then when he went to the J League.
Did he look comfortable to you, Maz? Did he look comfortable to you? That's my point.
He looked like a Greek man that's just come in on his day off thinking, what the fuck am I doing here?
Right. Well, that's my point.
I want to go on holiday. The plane's waiting.
Right? If you're not comfortable, that means already I'm not sure he's confident of what he's walked into. I'm being honest. I'm normally a good judge of instinct with these things. And I just looked at it and I thought, you know what? I like you. I want you to work. You've got such a good history coming to this club. But, man, there's something not right with that. Something just was missing for me.
My impression of that, I know why your spider senses are obviously going crazy. You're thinking, oh shit, we've seen this before. But I think he's sort of come in and thought, and he's thinking to himself, Tottenham are getting me to say all these things, but I know what I need to do to make this work. And I'll tell you lot what I need to do. So that's the aura I'm getting from him, from that little clip. But I get what you're saying. I do agree. It's a bit... I hope we'll see. We'll see come the end of the transfer window.
I'm telling you, I'm worried.
I've got to admit, I am really intrigued to see what type of sort of media that Tottenham release over the summer and what he says when we do the tour, because that's going to give us little clues as to, is he getting his own way or is he not?
Or when we sign players he doesn't want. Let's see. Because
Yeah,
thing is, as much as fans hated him, right? As much as fans didn't like him and they wanted him out, Jose Mourinho, when he came in, day one, he lit up that newsroom. And I remember him going, I'm here to win. I like to win. I win. I'm thinking, that's the Jose I know. That's real Mourinho. No one's written that. No one's scripted it. No one's told you what to say. You've come in and you've been you. Whereas I look at Ange and I'm like, damn it, you look like a puppet, man. You look like an advanced level of Ryan Mason the way you're talking, and that worries me because I know he's not that person.
Aren't we being
interesting.
disrespectful to him though? Because he's coming from a completely different. You know, he's fought through the lower echelons.
That's
of,
not my
of the
problem.
leagues.
That's not your problem, Maz. That's not our problem. You're here to manage Tottenham now. This is Tottenham
It
Hotspur.
will be interesting to
do you
hear
know what
him.
goes on at this club, Ange? Do you understand what club you've just come to?
If you see, yeah.
I don't want no theatre, drama, scripted speeches. I want the real Postecoglou. I want you to sit in front of the camera and be you. Deliver me you, because that's what I've bought into. And that video, I don't know. As I'm just saying, I'm worried.
I don't know if that was just a startup video, like a little, because it took a long time for him to actually come out.
Startup video.
No, but you know what I mean? It took a long time for him to actually come in front of a screen or something, or even see him with a shirt or something, like since they announced it. It was a good couple of days later, wasn't it? But it will be good to hear him speak freely, I guess, once he's, I don't know if he's in the country or if he's at a club or something like that. And I presume he's going to go on holiday for a week or something, isn't he? Or a couple of weeks or something, and then he's gonna kind of come to Hotspur Way and get his feet under the table, whatever it is. It'll be good to hear him then. And I honestly don't know if it was an interview video kind of thing, oh yeah, I've made a bloody WhatsApp video announcing himself or something like that kind of thing. It
wasn't very well choreographed though, was it? In the sense that it wasn't very high quality, almost as bad as Paratici's video he did in his little hotel room before he got sentenced.
The day after.
Yeah. Big up, Ryan. Anyway, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Big up, Ryan. Ryan, did you see the video? If you did, what did you think of it?
Well, of Postecoglou's interview.
Startup video.
Yeah, it did feel. I mean, obviously, we do this thing. I think we're pretty much the only club that does this with new managers pre-season. I've never seen Chelsea. Chelsea haven't done it with Poch, have they? So it seems I didn't see United do it with Ten Hag last year. It seems to be only a Spurs thing to get a manager with a script, read it out, and try and appease the fans. It did feel very, very PR. It felt scripted. The big thing for me is the summer. You say you're going to wait till January the 31st. Oh, sorry, not January the 31st, August the 31st. I'm going to wait until pretty much the start of the season or pretty much pre-season, because if we don't have that defence sorted by then, and the big tell will be David Raya, because if we need him and the way that we need to play, we need a ball-playing defender, goalkeeper. He needs to be in now. He needs to know Postecoglou's system. So let's see if Levy will put his money where his mouth is. He says he's backed managers. Well, he hasn't. Let's put that straight out there. He's never ever backed a manager. If he backed a manager, he would have backed Poch, not sacked him. He wouldn't have sacked Jose before a cup final. He would have given Conte Bastoni or an adequate backup, not Clement Longap. He wouldn't have sacked Martin Yeo at half-time. He wouldn't have sold Berbatov, Keane and Defoe with one day Ramos and given him Darren Bent and Fraser Campbell. He wouldn't have sold Modric and Bale and replaced him with Dross for AVB. So he's never backed a manager. So let's see if finally he puts his money where his mouth is. Because all I see is us with the 40 million apparently reported that they want. We won't go and get him, and we'll probably end up with the Leeds goalkeeper, Meslier. So that will tell me straight away whether it's Postecoglou has the full support of the board or not. Because if he doesn't, I put my prediction there. I've considered this season already a write-off. Whether he's backed, look, he's not going to get everything he wants. I think this is the time. It's a project, 5th one in 25 years that we've had, whatever. So if he gets a little bit of what he needs, that we can say, and he keeps hold of Kane, I can see a 10th place finish. If he doesn't get what he needs and Kane gets sold, I can see us getting relegated. And that's the God's honest truth, because if we sell Kane and keeps the likes of Dyer and Sanchez playing at the back, you'll think come January, similar to pretty much what Tielemans done, you've got players like Bentancur will be coming back, Kulu, Romero. They won't be playing their best. They'll be pretty much protecting themselves for a move. And it will just go downhill and downhill. And you Harry Kane, if we do keep him and we struggle, even if we do keep Harry Kane and we struggle, he's got 6 months left on his contract. Do you really think he's going to put maximum effort in and risking an injury, which means he might be out and miss a big move in the summer? He's going to be relaxing, not giving his. I'm not saying he's never done it, but he won't be absolute to his absolute best, giving it all, because he's got to protect his career and everything like that. So I don't think we will go down, but he needs backing. He needs proper backing. It's a long-term thing. Let's just see how the season goes. I mean, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away even from pre-season. Seems mad because the season's just finished, but Thursday fixtures come out. So, and then you start looking ahead. And
yeah, but mid-July is when that pre-season tour starts, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the general sentiment is though, and what Mike is saying is I don't know. I think we can't go too much off one little video that he did, just before he's going to go on holiday and eat loads of souvlaki and kebabs and stuff like that. He's probably thinking, I'll just do this video, go on holiday, come back, and then hit the ground running. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when on the tour and what he says. I think we're going to know a lot more during that period.
I just want to stress to people, and you too, Michael, who've said, can we actually wait till we play some matches? You're tired of people analysing a 2-minute video. I have put out a video today, Michael, saying I will judge on the 31st of August when the transfer window's over. I will tell you what I think's what's what. All I'm saying at the moment is I'm just concerned because watching that video, I don't get the vibe that I want to see from a new manager that's going to come and change this. It just seems scripted, and that to me says puppet. But the other issue that we haven't looked at is that we don't know if the players have bought into him, because when Nuno came, it was clear the players are completely disengaged. But maybe if we play attacking football, the players will enjoy it. Therefore, they'll give it a go, which is what I'm hoping will happen. Rather than being told, sit back, be pragmatic, counter-attack, the shackles will come off, so to speak, and the players will be prepared to give it a go and buy into it. Because it was clear under Nuno from day one. Well, day one, we beat Man City. But thereon after, it looked like they hadn't bought into it. What would you make of that? Do you think the players
really looking forward to this attacking 4 at the back football if we don't get rid of these deadwood players, because we saw a taste of it at the back end of the season under Mason.
Slaughtered.
1 at Newcastle, 3-1 against Brentford, 3-1 against 3-2 against Bournemouth, conceding 4 at Anfield, 3 in 15 minutes. That's just a taste of what's going to happen if we don't fix up this defence. It's literally on this defence. You've got to get rid of these players and replace them. If we don't, because we ain't going to replace them if they're still here. That's the issue we've got. Because as you said it before, our squad is so bloated. We've got 35 players coming back. Overall as a squad with all the loan players coming back. It's such a big squad that we can't. Levy won't risk bringing in players unless he knows that the players that we need to get rid of are going out the door, unless he wants to start picking up contracts. That's my biggest fear. That's why I've said throughout, it's all about getting players out.
It's money for money, isn't it?
Yeah,
money for money.
He's never done it before, but if it comes to it, he just has to rip up contracts for no reason whatsoever. I mean, he ripped up the Doherty contract because of they had
no choice. He fucked up.
Yeah, but it comes to it, the likes of Dyer, who's on 60-70 grand a week, Sanchez, who's on similar, maybe a bit more, Davis, Winks. You're going to have to rip up the contracts and just bring in new players, fresh blood, and let's just start again.
Just quickly to Ivan. Ivan, you're new to the channel. We don't do fake positivity. We do honest opinions and views. It's not for everyone. I appreciate that. But for those looking for happy clapping, always good, the sun's always shining, then probably not the best channel for you. If you want some real honest views and opinions from Spurs fans, they've had to live through this shit for 30 years, then you've come to the right place, my man. Big up. Appreciate you being.
I don't think it's us being negative. I just think we want to see some proof, right, that something positive is actually happening. And the only way we're going to see that proof and that the shoots of positivity coming through from Ange and the club is if we see the changes that we've been waiting to see for the last 5 years, which is Dyer going, Davies going, refreshing that back four and getting replacements for Dembele and Eriksen. I don't think it's us being negative. It's just this cycle repeats every single season. Every transfer window, we see the same thing. So our default position is not expecting much. And that's the correct position to take because it happens every single transfer window.
Yeah, look, the fourth year running, isn't it?
I think Ivan's a Celtic fan, so he's used to seeing success
winning
quite regularly at his club. And this ain't me taking a piss, by the way. I'm actually being serious. He sees his club winning every other season, if not every season. So to get on board on what we're discussing about it's a little bit tricky. He's saying let's give Ange two transfer windows. I'd happily give him 4 transfer windows, providing that those transfer windows is providing
the windows that he
wants.
Let's
have it right. Let's have it right. Okay. Let's lay it down as it is. All those other channels, all of them who fed you positivity and fed you good vibes for the last 5 years, completely fucking got it wrong. Every single one of them. The ones that spoke on Levy and Enoch, the ones that questioned the transfers, the ones that said they've got concerns, all of those channels, which includes Ryan's over here, we were bang on the money, spot on the money. So when we say now, we've just got a concern, we're not panicking, we've got a concern, and we will wait and see what happens in the summer. Just listen, take it on board. That's why you watch this channel, guys. There's a reason you watch us. I think you think like us. What you're not going to get from us is Chris Cowlin vibes. Yeah, the expectation's now top 4. It's fucking deluded to say that. It's just ridiculous, right?
It's an unfair.
That's just poor guy, isn't it? Poor guy just banged.
It's an unfair expectation.
That causes the division. That's what causes the division. Unrealistic expectations of grandeur when we're 8th out of Europe. Our best player might be leaving. We don't know what's going to happen this summer. I don't think any manager, even Postecoglou, can fix all of our issues in one season. I think this needs 2-3 years. Whoever, if they get that time,
say that he expects 4th next season, given the fact that we've not made a single change on hang on. For him to say that, where there's there's not been any changes to the personnel in the first team. Nobody has left, so we're still the same squad of players. That tells me the reason why we didn't finish top 4 this season is purely down to the managers that we had on board. That's it. Because the players are still the same. Nothing's changed. And a question was asking one of the guys in the chat, what happens if this way, I'm glad you put it out. What happens to those players that we won't get rid of? Nothing has changed. That's what that means, Ivan. Nothing has changed.
And that's where Ryan was saying you just got to rip up their contracts, right?
You cannot expect next season to be any different to this season, if not worse, if the likes of Harry Kane leave the club. So it would make the job for Ange Postecoglou a lot more difficult than what it currently is. That's it. I don't blame the manager. I'd never have blamed the manager, and I wouldn't even blame Ange Postecoglou for all the good that he wants to do. But I just don't see how it's going to succeed if he's not given the tools to do so. That's all.
What Postecoglou had at Celtic was okay. All he had to do was sort of change the style at Celtic to appease the fans, because
but Ryan, he was given. He wanted a couple of players from Asia.
Guys, he cleared out some Deadwood. He cleared out
a lot of players.
He cleared out players.
But he wanted a couple of players from Japan, where people that knew his system well. He said, "I want that guy."
He got players that were cheap because that's all they could afford. He got players that were cheap because that's all they could afford.
He was given what he wanted.
Yes.
This is what I'm trying to say. They provided him what he wanted. He said, "I want that guy," and it was given. It wasn't like, "Oh, Ange, why are we going to Japan to get those players? Who knows them? I don't know them." And he's like, trust me, I want them for my system. Then they've got Kyogo in.
What I'm
And they've got
saying
the
is,
other fella.
even if he didn't get that at Celtic, even if he didn't get that at Celtic, one second, even if he didn't get that at Celtic, Celtic would still have been up there challenging.
Yeah, of course. They're always going to be favourites. Yeah, them and Rangers and maybe,
Yes.
the third
So
team.
it's slightly different in terms of if he doesn't get what he wants at Tottenham and he's not backed in any certain way, our trajectory is still heading down. We will be 10th, 12th next season if he's not backed. If Kane goes next season, we're going to be in an even worse situation.
Look at Ndicka. Ndicka, just like you guys have just read it, right? Ndicka's going to Roma. Awa has gone to Roma.
Yeah.
Those players wouldn't go to Roma if Jose wasn't there. They wouldn't.
No, Iggy, it's because we haven't got Scott Munn in place. The manager's not here. We haven't hit the ground running on the transfers. All of this should have been done 4 weeks ago. We were saying it. Why is Ryan Mason in charge? How the hell is he?
The reason why is so we don't have to pay them during off season. That's it. That's why we don't sign them beforehand. If you sign players now, that means you have to pay them for the month of June, for the month of July. If you sign them in July, then you only pay them at the end of July, and then the season starts.
Incorrect, because
that's how they operate.
The window officially opens on the 1st of July. That's the official, so that's when
but a lot of the clubs do they agree everything up front.
They announce the deal, as in the deal's done and everything.
But they don't officially sign.
They sign the contract, but the actual wages, the contract officially starts on July the 1st. That's why you see the contracts end or whatever on June the 30th.
You see, for me, right, if Angelos comes in, right, gets rid of, I don't even want all the players to go. If he just gets rid of Sanchez or Sanchez and Dyer or Dyer and Long Gap or whatever the combination is, if he gets rid of a couple and he brings in his own players, I don't even care if I've never heard of them. As long as I've got confidence that he's bringing in the players that he wants for his system, then I'll be happy. I'm not expecting any marquee signings, so that we never sign any marquee signings anyway. But I'm not expecting any big names. I just want the feeling that he's getting the players that he wants.
And that's what it comes down to. And he shouldn't have any players forced upon him. He shouldn't be told, for example, look, this is the reality. If he looks at this squad and he feels, do you know what, Harry Kane, you're brilliant, but you just can't press the way I need you to. And he feels that won't work. Of course he won't do that because he'll find another way to make Kane work. But let's say that was to happen. And he went to the board and said, look, it doesn't work for what we need. The board have to listen to him. If he says, look, Romero, strong, aggressive, but this guy is an absolute nightmare. You cannot coach him. He's a liability. Let's say, for example, he says, I'm not saying that will happen. Then they have to get rid of him. Otherwise, it's not a rebuild. A rebuild is only a rebuild if the manager says, right, this is what we're keeping. This is what has to go. This is what needs to come in. If you are told how to do the rebuild, there's no point in having a manager. Just Levy, put yourself in the dugout, and you decide what the rebuild should look like. Otherwise, there's no point in having a manager. By the way, we didn't go through the quotes. There's a couple of quotes. This is the first one. Postecoglou, he said, everyone keeps saying I have to keep everyone happy. Am I supposed to go around making them cups of tea or buy their wife flowers? They should be happy with a smile on their face every day because they're doing what they love and representing a fantastic football club. What do you make of that?
Good quote.
Good. Yeah.
It's what you want, isn't it?
It reminds me a bit of Poch when he used to say to the
you make
players,
me happy.
Yeah, sorry.
You make me happy,
JP.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Poch used to say to the players. You're not here to play football. You're here to train. And that's the same sort of attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, you're paid to train, not play.
Yeah.
If you play or not, down to the manager.
Will the players committee approve of that, or do you think the players committee?
That's got to be knocked on the head straight away. That's got to be one of the first things he sorts out.
Well, he's got to get them on board because they can turn on them first.
Hey, just signed a 5-year contract, 4-year contract, whatever.
Or he breaks it up. He breaks it up.
He has to.
There's another quote here from Postecoglou where he said, just get it into your heads. We never stop. We never stop. We'll stop at halftime and we'll stop at the end of the game when we celebrate. But during the game, we don't stop.
That's a total
call that.
360. That's a total 360 to what we do now, right?
What, score and sit back?
You stop at half time and go in the second half, or we go in the first
back
half
four,
and go to the second half.
Yeah, the back four
So true.
strand around, midfield pass it around, left, backwards, sideways. It's lazy football at the moment, isn't it? Or it's been lazy football.
These quotes are what he said during his time at Celtic, wasn't it? So it's the kind of
These are
stuff that's gonna
quotes
be
during his
implemented.
career. It's during his
Yeah.
career. Just
So it's just the way he plays.
It's kind of the
essentially.
mentality that he wants, and
He
like
wants
the
to
things that
put in
he
the
wants
team.
to bring out,
But
and
the
that's
team-
what he
the
wants
team
to
has
be
to
at the
be fit.
forefront of the football, right?
Yeah, the team have to be
Can I-
fit. They have to be.
Can I ask you
super fit to do
something,
that.
right? A Celtic fan reached out to me and told me that you're going to like Postecoglou. He's like Jock Stein. Now, for those of you who don't know who Jock Stein is, he's a legend up in Scotland. But just something to put out there. Isn't this a bit old school? Like these sound like old school values, traditional good values, good old, the kind of things that Bill Nick would say, that we'd say, yeah, go on. Are these going to resonate with the modern day player? Is this how to approach modern day footballers?
I think
Well,
so.
you need a bit of that, though, don't you? At the end of the day,
The
rather than
principles of football are the same.
pussyfooting round them and going
But
and
we're
making
older
them cups
people.
of tea and buying their
Yeah, but
wives
JP,
flowers.
we're older people. Like, if these were your kids, right? So you both have kids. If the manager was talking to your kids like that, you'd like it. But do you think your kids would take that on board, or do you think it's a bit much?
Well, I don't know. I
pushy?
think the way the kids are brought up, yes, you're right. But he has to make them understand, and they have to understand they're there for football, right? They're not just there to drive their flashy car into the training ground, have a little kick around for a couple of hours, and kind of drive back out again and make an omelette in a microwave or whatever Delhi was doing. But it has to be more than that. They're there for the football.
Yeah, but those to me are basic principles. What I'm reading there's nothing new. There's nothing new to football. What he's saying, those are the principles he expects and his expectations. I don't know what he's like from a man management point of view, though I've not heard anything said negatively about him in that way.
He seems calm. He seems to have a calm tone about him.
See, that's the side you need to know about him. But the quotes that you just read there about what his philosophy, if you like, of football are very, for me, very straightforward, man. And people often say they're like straight talkers, and he seems, at least from what I've seen, that he's one of those guys. He's a straight talker, no beating around the bush, and that's essentially what you need. We need that at Spurs. We do need that at Spurs.
There's one more quote.
It's weird. It's weird in a way because coming from Conte, you'd think Conte would have told you the truth. Mourinho would have told them the truth.
But
do you know what I mean?
Seem to like it,
like
man.
in terms of the fact that if you want
This
someone
is-
to give
this
you
is the
home
point I'm
truth,
making.
it's not going to change what Conte telling you. Do you know what I mean? Like this is like in a way pre-Conte when Conte just signed. Do you remember all those clips that were going around of him saying, "I want to kill players if they don't do what I hit."
The only thing we can hold on to is the fact that the other two managers, Conte and Jose, came with the baggage that you guys were talking about at the beginning of the program, the beginning of the stream. Sorry, and this guy doesn't. So, but
come on, guys, hit that like a bit more.
Bring in the players that he requires that already knows him and knows his way of football. It's the only way. It just makes the whole transition period a lot better and smoother and quicker, and it helps to having players there that can explain it to the other players who are not familiar with it.
And Levy's also got to knock it on the head. If these players come running, tapping on his door, he's got to tell them, go and speak to the manager.
We know what
I know, but that's what I'm saying. He's got to change as well, though. If he's going to change,
that's the part that I can't.
He's not
that's where Levy has to say when they knock on his door and they say, "Look, we'll have a chat about the manager." That's where Levy say, "Turn around,
go and knock on the manager's door."
Speak to you later. Bye bye. Out. And that's it. But these are things we won't know until, this is what I'm saying, in the end of the transfer window, we'll begin to gauge it. Guys, can everyone just take 10 seconds out of their lives and touch the like button and then go to Tottenham on Tour and do the same over there. Subscribe to their channel as well. There was one other quote where Postecoglou said, "I'm a big believer that if you can produce homegrown talent and players who have come through the club," so he's referring to the academy, "there's extra meaning to represent that football club for the player."
That's the line that got him the job, right?
Isn't he just stating the obvious? Well, yeah, exactly. I'll leave. He's like, oh yeah.
Depends if you're properly English or not. I think if you've come across and you come, like other big clubs too, they buy the young talent and get through the academy. I don't think it means as much but I think if you actually come through as a boy in English, you come through the academy and it's your club, I think that's when it actually means something more. A bit like Harry Kane, Harry Winks, Ollie Skip. If you have like Ledley King, if you have a foreign player that you've brought abroad, like City are doing a lot right now, Barcelona are doing. Barca's slightly different because anyone wants to play for the elite clubs, but I think it's slightly different when it's a foreign youngster and they come through the ranks. But just to get some academy players, because the one thing we've lacked the past 20, 30 years even, is really bringing through our academy. I mean, it would be great to see a class of 92 appear at Tottenham. If we can, even something like how Ajax do. You see how Ajax seem to have their, the 2019 squad come through and it all gels together. And, they've had it in the past with their European Cups. It's all basically through their academy with one or two signings. It would be lovely to see that if we could actually generate.
We kind of had that a little bit, Ryan, right? With Poch, we had like a young England squad, didn't we? In a way,
it never came through the academy. And it would have been nice. I mean, if we can find some real coups, but the majority have come through the academy, it'd be something like we'd feel a part of it because it's like they're all one of our own. That would be
Man United, right? With Beckham and Scholes and all of those.
Scholes, Neville's, Beckham, Giggs, all came through the academy. But that can only happen if we generate the quality and everyone's on the same page from the under 8s, under 10s, under 16s, under 18s. As Stel said, you've all got to be on the same foot for like 10, 15, 20 years for that to happen. And I just don't see that happening because if Ange has, let's say after 2 years isn't cutting it, it'll be cut and we'll try something different. We won't stick with the same plan. So if Ange, we won't have a clue who the next manager will be after Ange because we don't work like that way. With Brighton, after Graham Potter, who plays a similar style, you just know they looked at Ange because it plays a similar style, but they ended up going with De Zerbi, who plays a similar style and has elevated it. Once De Zerbi leaves, because he will leave for the next big club, my opinion, that'll be Liverpool when Klopp goes. You just know that Brighton will look for that next.
They'll already be eyeing someone.
Yeah. Right? Just to carry on with that mode that's worked for them. Liverpool, for me, De Zerbi is just the perfect fit for them. After Klopp, he plays the same style. He's that same kind of manager in terms of he's very, energetic on the touchline. He get the best out of players. So you can just see where the clubs that have a plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years, they go for the same same type of manager. Whereas we will go after Ange, we could end up with, don't know who's on a similar level that plays a different style of football, but it would be like that. We go from one style to another instead of sticking to the same kind of plan. And that's the difficult part, which is why it doesn't work with an academy, because one manager will want to play academy players, because it fits their system. Manager might not, because he doesn't trust the academy as much to play that system and will want to buy players, and then it knocks the academy down, and that's where you've got the issue.
Well, the thing's like if you bring Mourinho in, Ryan, and your Contes and stuff, they're here to do stuff now, aren't they? Yeah. Not really to think about academy and building them up to 3 years' time, and then there'll be a quality player in my team. Do you know what I mean? That longevity is not there.
I remember Mourinho plenty of times. He did use, one or two. I mean, yes, he had to.
He did actually, didn't he? He did play a few of them. Yeah.
Liverpool. He won't just chuck the kids in, but in the odd game, he does, say, here's your chance. Let's see what you've got. Done it with Tanganga. There's a few others at other clubs he's done it with.
Harvey White got some time, didn't he?
Yeah, Alfred Devine in the cup game. Harvey
Even
White. I know it was against Marine, but he still gave him
the forward.
Yeah, he still gave him the opportunity.
Scarlett. Dane Scarlett, right?
The great thing about Postecoglou, from what I've seen, is that he does, he doesn't have that baggage, and he has gone into clubs where they haven't been successful, and he's made them successful, and the fact that he's got experience with the youth setup with Australia, as well, and him coming to Spurs in the Messi Arena, I do have high hopes that he's, hopefully he can hit the ground running. But the big caveat with all of this is always Daniel Levy and whether he allows Ange to steer the ship. And if he doesn't allow him to steer the ship, then it's like with any other manager. What's the point?
And I think that's the perfect thing. Sorry, Stel. I was just going to say, out of all the documentaries that I've seen, the Celtic board or the Celtic director, or whatever, he was openly talking and saying, which is something our board obviously don't do, was that we knew Ange, we knew his style, and we knew what he wanted, and we were prepared to back him in that. Right?
Yes.
Freaking amazing words. That's what any manager wants to hear, right? Absolutely what any manager wants to hear. Gives you that confidence to carry on going and doing.
This is almost like their plan to get him in.
Listen, guys, I could be wrong, but I was reading somewhere today, and again, I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. He hasn't actually brought through any academy players into the first team of where he's been.
He wasn't there that long, though, was he?
I'm talking about Japan and Scotland.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It's probably it's like 2 years in Scotland, and I don't know how long he spent at Japan,
But is it not the case there that he was involved in helping them shape their academies and sort of like consult them on style of play, what to look for, and stuff like that? I think I read.
Do you know? See, this is a fallacy. An academy isn't there to play the same way as the first team. That's the academy isn't about how you play. It's about developing individual football players that can play in any team, in any system. If you look at Harry Kane, any which way you look at it, he can play in any system, for any club, in any team, and he can do it and get goals. And the reason he can do that is because the academy successfully developed that in his foundation phase. That's what an academy is supposed to do. Unfortunately, too many fans, they have this perception that an academy is we all play the same way, and then the first team plays the same way. The only clubs that do that, Ajax, for example, do it, but Ajax have that ingrained in their history. If you want to do the Ajax model, you can. That takes 10 to 15 years.
That's not what I was meaning. No, but I agree, still, because I know you've said this many times. What I meant is the ethos of how the club is run gets passed through to the academy, in terms of not telling them, okay, this is how you're going to play football, but shit rolls downhill, a bit like what happens with the board. And if the people at the top are running the club well, then the football, the first team is playing well, then all of that has a positive effect running through the club. A bit like when Pochettino was there. That's what I meant. So if Postecoglou comes in and instills that positivity, for lack of a better word, will that not filter through to the other divisions in Tottenham, like the academy and stuff like that?
That will filter through if he's there long enough, right? So Pochettino and McDermott, who was the academy head at the time, the academy director, they had a really good relationship, like really good. And that's because they had time to build the relationship. And two, everyone in the academy respected Poch for the coach he was. They didn't respect him for being a manager. They knew he could coach. But where he lacks in certain management skills, that's where Jose and Conte are superior to Poch. Whereas you look at Pep, he's everything. He's a coach and a manager. He's elite at both. That's very rare. You get someone who's great at both. So the academy will say, we'd rather have an elite coach managing the first team. Whereas Chelsea or clubs like Newcastle right now have got all this money pumping in. they'd want an elite manager that can manage the players to win. So it's mindset. And some clubs want both, like Man City. But Man City is a long-term project that's been building for 10 odd years now. So it depends who you ask, Maz. For me, if you want our academy to work, you need a coach running the first team, because the coach will tell the academy half your coaches aren't up to scratch. And you need to coach this, and this into them. And he will know what he's talking about. Whereas someone like Conte will say, these players aren't at the level for me. You need to produce better players for me. Anyone?
Wicked.
Everyone just fell asleep. Everyone's like, yeah.
Yes, we all agree, Daniel Levy.
No, that's what happens.
Anyways,
Big up, Will.
I have to run and get my watch.
Which one'd you get?
Huh?
Which one'd you get?
No, I'm a tag man.
Tag Howard's a great brand.
But do you know what? Though? Postecoglou has been involved with the youth setup when he was managing Australia. So
yeah, he's got youth coach experience. He does, yeah.
I don't know, but he has been around youth players, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's going to take a lot of work, especially with the setup that we have. Although I feel like at the moment his priority should be elsewhere on the current first team.
Will and I disagree on this. Okay, so I'm going to bring Will in. Will thinks our academy players aren't good enough. That's why they're not in the first team. Where I disagree. I say that there are players good enough, but are they going to be given the patience for 2-3 years to bed in and develop under one manager, one style? Are we going to do that? And yes, players like Reece James, they come into Chelsea and they're ready. But the difference is with Chelsea, they get the pick of the bunch. We don't. Chelsea get the pick of the bunch for many reasons. Half because they break the fucking rules, and the other half because they're a more attractive club. If you're a young player, Chelsea come in, Spurs come in, you're going Chelsea most probably. So
you go to Chelsea because you know that there's players that are going to break into the. There's more probability of you breaking into the first team at Chelsea than you are at Spurs. When was the last time we've had real quality players, man? No, I'd go to
Chelsea.
But they gone by
pay more.
The likes of West Ham, the likes of Crystal Palace.
Pay more. Chelsea.
I agree. I know. They pay their families as well. I know all of that. They look after their mum and dads. There's all of that
indirectly.
Indirectly. Yeah. But we know it happens. It happens at Man City as well. But the really and truly, if you have to really think about it, the likes of Crystal Palace, West Ham, there's more players coming through in those. West Ham before were probably one of the better ones, but now Palace are very, very, very good for it. There's many other teams in and around the Premier League that are good for the.
But they get game time, Miggy. They get game time. Yeah. See, those clubs you've mentioned. Hold on a minute. See, those players you've mentioned are all what? In teams that are fighting relegation. There's a reason they're there, because those players aren't as wow as we think, but they're in the development phase of adult football. Now, in 2-3 years' time, those players will go to bigger clubs. Example, right now, it looks like Declan Rice is going to Arsenal. So he's going from a relegation team to a potential title contender, third biggest club in England. But had he have not got game time at his club week in, week out to evolve, he wouldn't have made that jump. Spurs don't give game time to players because at Spurs, we can't be in a relegation battle. We must get top 4.
That's what I said still about Walker Peters, because Walker Peters, we had him for ages, right? And he didn't really get a game, or he'd get a game now and again. We'd lose, he'd give the ball away.
He played well. Stuff like that.
But he didn't really get that consistency, right? And then he left and went off to Southampton. But he got that game time at Southampton regularly. Plus, the team that they're in, if they lose one week, draw the next week, lose the week after, he's not going to get berated, right? The fans are not going to be on his back. Like, the whole media circus is not going to be on him. It's okay to lose a game at Southampton, but all throughout that progress, he's getting game time and playing more and more, right? And then towards the end, people are, we shouldn't have sold him. We shouldn't have sold him. Like, we should have kept him. But he wouldn't get that game time at Spurs. the results are important at Tottenham Hotspur. You know, like one
Yeah.
draw and people are going
Yeah.
do lally.
The expectation is to make Champions League football every
Fans are
season.
impatient as well. Fans don't have the patience.
There's that as well. There's the expectation from the board to make European places, i.e., Champions League spot. So once you've got those targets set by the board, you cannot afford, the manager then cannot afford to develop a player when he's under pressure to deliver what's expected, top four, by the owners. So the whole
Lose 4 or
thing,
5 games, they're going to
there's
get
all
sacked.
mismatches there. There's all mismatch. They're not aligned. Not everything's aligned at Spurs because everybody wants different things. The expectations, whatever of what everybody wants, are completely different. So where does any of those expectations allow for a young player to get enough game time to develop? And you know, by development, that means the player's going to make mistakes along the way. He's going to make mistakes, but what's important for that player that those mistakes he learns from it. He's given the opportunity to remedy from those mistakes and carry on playing. Where the results are expected, those mistakes will not be allowed, and he won't be able to remedy it. And if before you know it, you will never see him in the first team again. That's where we are all not aligned as a club to allow what kind of football club do we want to be? Many a times we've asked this question, but we've never really got to the bottom of the answer. What do we want to be? Do we want to be a club that develops young players? Accept that those players are going to make errors for their growth, and then in the hope that they become elite players and then they'll get bought by bigger and better clubs? Or do we want the here and now? It's all about the here and now. You cannot have here and now and development. You cannot have both. And we are neither. We're not here or we're not there. We're kind of just like, we make it up as we go along. That's how I feel about Tottenham Hotspur. At every other club, I can identify what they want to be. But with us, there isn't a clear identity or plan for the matter.
It's like a knee-jerk reaction to everything that happens, isn't it?
Of course. We do it with the managers. We do it with the players. We do it with everyone. Like, example. Last season, we needed wing-backs. We had full-backs. This season, we're going to play with a back four, but we've got wing-backs. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see? Ange Postecoglou plays with a back four. We now have Udogie and we have Porro, which are wing-backs. We fucking needed them last season when we were playing wing-backs. So now it's just completely, it's a complete turnaround. So, and it's because we're constantly chopping and changing. By the time we get to grips of one, to playing one way, we're now having to completely go the other way with an attacking footballing manager.
Whose fault's that?
Yeah, the accountability, it goes back to
it's
that.
Always up there. It's always up there, isn't it? Because I heard someone saying the other day,
JP, just 1 second. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. Ryan just reminded me. There's a person watching the show called Rachel. She's basically protests all the time with us. She fell ill the other day in hospital, and it was a serious situation, but at the moment she's okay. So we just wanted to say big up to Rachel.
Rachel.
We know
big
you're
up,
watching.
Rachel.
Lots of love out there to Rachel. Thanks for reminding me, Ryan. Good shout, mate.
Get well soon, and we'll see you across the road.
Get well soon, mate. Get well soon.
Okay.
Shouting Levy out.
Oh, yeah, she's loud.
Yeah.
I think I remember her now that you met. I think I remember her at the protest.
Yeah.
Long brown hair. I think I remember her.
Yeah, sorry, JP, what were you saying?
You hear her before you see her.
That reminds me of you, Ryan.
Well, Rachel.
Sounds like you.
Yeah.
Me as well. Me inside the ground, trust me.
Well, let's go on to the transfers. Let's get into it, okay? So there's a few big name signings that we've been linked to, and there's a couple of smaller signings who I'm not too sure about. But let's get the big one out of the way, because it is the one that everyone's been talking about. And it's this guy, James Maddison. Been a brilliant player for Leicester. Scores goals, creates goals. He's been relegated. He's moving for sure. Now, media says that we're in for him. Media also says that Newcastle are the front runners. Is Maddison going to end up at Spurs, or is he going to end up in another club? Does he even want to come to Spurs? Will, you can go first, because I know how much you love all the transfers and player gossip and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I did a really good transfer rumor update yesterday on my show, and that was nothing's new. So
It covers it.
yeah. Look, there's no way that, regardless if we're interested in Madison or not, there's no way we're going to fork up the cash to beat out another club that we're competing with. That's just facts, right? So, what are the, like, if Newcastle's coming in for Madison and Leicester is obviously going to try to get as much money from him as they can because they got to rebuild and get back into the league, why on earth would Newcastle say, you know what, we can't afford a player, let's let Tottenham have him? That's just not going to happen. Their owners are willing to fork out the cash they need to get the players. Now, Newcastle hasn't gone out and spent crazy. They haven't been blowing, they've been doing it in a sleuth manner, but if they have a target, they go out and get it. So, I mean, what you had, Gamesh wanted to go, there's a couple clubs interested in him, and he ended up going to Newcastle, right? So, what it is, man. Not going to happen.
Does anyone have anything to add to that, or does that pretty much sum it up?
Go on, man.
I mean, I really
The
want
only, I don't know if this is adding.
We all want him, Ryan. We all want Madison.
Yeah, but that
for sure.
I know that Newcastle apparently, due to FFP, the rumours are that they can only spend 70 or 75 million this year. So whether or not they want to blow 40, 50 million on Madison and only have 25 million left to do the rest of their businesses, who knows?
The thing with that is they only need one or two. It's not like they need like the last.
Yeah, exactly.
And 200-300 million. They only need one or two now. They're in that kind of position where we were, where they only need one or two each window.
You say that, but they've got European football next year, Ryan.
Yeah, and they need the biggest
Champions League.
But there is ways around it. What about if you pay like half now and then with obligation?
Same as Chelsea, isn't it? Over 10 years.
You know how Chelsea got away with it? I don't know if people realize that they actually didn't break the rules. So players under 23 that are considered youth, right? You can actually FFP. They don't fall under FFP. So that's why they went out and dropped all that money on the youngsters, guys under 23. It's because it didn't break FFP rules.
Yeah, and there's no reason why I guess Newcastle can't do the same sort of thing.
Does that mean those funds don't count towards your FFP quota? Yeah?
Exactly, because they can have them registered in the academy, and there's no FFP rules for the academy.
And they used a loan company that bought the players for them on 8-year loans, same fixed term as the contract. That's why the players are on 7-8 years contract. So rather than spending £70 million today, that is paid over 8 years plus a bit of interest. So they didn't actually.
All players are probably going to be bought like that, right? They're going to be amortized over their entire.
Yeah,
but not 7-8 year contracts. The only reason they managed to do long contracts, because that means you can pay over a longer time, so it's less payments now. The reason they got away with 8-year contracts is because the debt company bought the player on behalf of Chelsea, and then Chelsea paid the debt company. Whereas if you and I, let's say I'm Chelsea and you're Tottenham, and you buy one of my players, and I say, right, you can pay me over 4 years. I would never let you pay me over 8 years. That's why they use a debt company.
But that's just how they're getting their money, right? They're just you just do that in business anyway, right? That's what rich people do. They use other people's money to get the things done that they want to get done, right? And
it's no football club has done that before with so many players, though.
I think it was just because of the length of the contracts, and it was because of their age, because they were technically U23s. An 8-year contract. By that time, they're like, what, 25, 26, 27, right? So they're not past their prime if they come out and work out. Now, if they're flops, they're going to be kind of screwed because they've ended up paying, you can say Modric, for example, they're going to pay, what, 100 million euro for him. So splitting that up over 8 years, I mean, that's what, 17 million euro a year, right? It's not a big deal. So
I think a key point as well, what you said, Will, and as soon as you said it, is absolutely true. Is when have we ever outbid anyone for any player?
Never.
I don't. In my in the
It's not our
35 years
game.
I've been supporting Spurs, I don't remember us ever doing that, ever, not once.
Dan Juma.
Hey.
Well, we didn't
You
outbid
mean
them.
Everton?
Just
It's a
stole him.
loan move. We
What,
just ganked it. Like,
what a great success! What a great success he was. Everyone in the chat
Hey,
ruined
he
me for
scored more-
saying he's
If only we kept him.
He scored more than Richarlison.
another
By the
great
end of the season, I bet he was wishing he'd gone to Everton. He'd have played a whole lot more.
And Juba, what a waste! Absolute joke.
No, Stel, he's a
Give him a
generational
chance,
talent.
Stel. Give him a chance.
That's what we said about Mason. Give him a chance. We're 8th.
Again.
Mason should go.
Again.
Mason has to go. I mean,
No, Mason didn't need a chance. He was the most winningest Tottenham Hotspur manager ever until he completely blew it this season.
What about links to this player, which was circulating last week? Harry the Fridge Maguire. Now, is this the adult, mature partnership for Romero that we're looking for, guys?
I don't know, but look, all we gotta do is we sign Maguire, and Kim Min-jae, and then Dyer, and we can have the whole refrigerator back line. You got Whirlpools and Maguire, Frigidaires, and Eric Dyer, and a Samsung and Kim Min-jae. Right?
Fridge FC.
Yeah.
But is there any Spurs fan out there that would see a pathway of how Maguire makes sense as a signing? Is there any Spurs fan that says, you know what, you know, you're being a bit harsh here. He plays for England. He's a starter for England at centre back. He plays well for his country. Maybe he can play well for Spurs. Different club, different environment, fresh start. Is there anyone out there that could buy into that, or nah?
Still, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna be the one. Right. Sanchez or Maguire?
Maguire.
Right. Dyer or Maguire?
Maguire.
Dyer.
Maguire.
There you go. And this is what I'm fearing, because if Levy's saying to Ange, you got to pick one, and then he's got to make a choice, is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, but I just don't understand why we would go in. I guess we weren't satisfied with being conceding the 4th most goals in the league this season. So we want to be top. We want to be top of the table. Right. So we had to go out and sign Maguire.
Or the right side. Because if he's on the
plays
left,
on the left, doesn't he normally? He's not
strange
left-footed, right?
because
But he plays on the left most of the time.
If we can get a reasonable deal done, I can see the merits to the deal. I'm going to be straight. I do see the merits to the deal. It hasn't worked at United, but for England, he plays brilliantly. Back 4 or back 3. Regardless what you think of him, he has performed well for England at tournaments.
Playing defensive, pragmatic, boring football, yeah?
No, playing out of the back, he's very good, which is Ange's system.
Harry Maguire plays out the back for England. Do you watch England games?
Yes, he plays out the back. Do you watch England games?
He tries to play out the back.
To watch. We're terrible
to play out the back.
But no. We play out the back against the less. He does it very well. But just defensively wise, for me, he's a Clement stopgap. But English.
He does it well against countries like, Montenegro, where he scores 60.
He was brilliant. In the Euros, he was brilliant. I wouldn't say he was at his absolute best for England at the World Cup, but apart from maybe Jude Bellingham, who was, not even Kane was absolutely at his best for England. I can see the merits to the deal if we can get him relatively properly cheap, but there are better options out there.
Yeah, like really cheap, 5 million maybe.
I'm talking like 15, 20 mil. If United want him gone,
15, 20 mil, you could go out. But this is the problem with that. You could, for 15, 20 mil, you could go out and get a real center back who's young, right?
However,
from a country who's
consideration though. You've got also, the homegrown quota. I think we've got about 18 or 19 non-homegrown players. We do need homegrown players in our squad.
We only need 8.
I know you only need 8, but if you think about it, If Kane's off, that's homegrown out the window.
It doesn't have to be on the pitch. It only has to be registered.
In
You
the
can do that
squad.
with squad.
No, I know it only needs
Yeah.
to be in the squad, but we've only got 8 max. You would like to have 8 or 9 because let's just say Kane's gone. Dyer isn't classed as homegrown or Davis, I don't think. So you look at it.
Not in Europe. In the league they are, but not in Europe.
Okay. Dyer and Davis, who we want gone. Tanganga, who we want gone. Winks, who we want gone. Skip, who a few are up in the air about. They're all homegrown players, so you are going to have to replace them with homegrown quotas to cover that.
Is Dyer homegrown? Does he count? I thought it was Portuguese.
Portuguese, isn't he?
Not in Europe, he doesn't count, but in the league.
If Harry Maguire
league,
comes
okay.
to Spurs,
So you look at that, it does make sense for the Harry Maguire deal. If we can get, I wouldn't be paying 40-50 million for Harry Maguire. No chance.
Yeah, that's
if we can
nuts.
get him, if we can get him for 10, 15, max 20 mil, the deal makes sense.
It doesn't make sense to me because if Postecoglou is a manager that wants to play football on the front foot, he wants to press from the front. So which is why I think Richarlison may be in a little bit of luck because he will give off the ball at least that kind of football that Postecoglou pressing from the front. That in quite right. Listen, I'm saying Richarlison. I'm finding a name here right now.
Iggy, what do you make of this? Iggy, what do you make of this?
It's too slow.
Harry Maguire can't pass a curry on laxative.
No. I'm not getting. What I'm trying to say, if Postecoglou wants to play on the front foot and he wants to attack from, you need to have a high line defense, right?
Gone.
So you've got to have a high line defense. So how with current defenders that we have, we are notoriously known from being slow. We have Longley, who's not the quickest. Dyer's not the quickest. Davis is not the quickest. We saw what Brentford did to us in that last home game. They absolutely ripped us a new one purely on speed. The characteristics of the defender that we require are one that's aggressive and on the front foot for sure, and who doesn't mind being in a one-on-one situation high up the pitch because he knows that even if the guy gets in behind them, he can catch him quickly. Maguire does not fit that characteristic.
Yeah.
If we're going to partner him in the back four with Romero, we're already screwed. Because
if you're looking for someone that's homegrown of that ilk, similar to Maguire in terms of not quite quick, but a very, very good defender and homegrown, I go after Lewis Dunk. I've been saying Lewis Dunk for the past year, 18 months. We should be going after and signing.
We're not longer playing with 3 at the back. We're playing with 2 now.
Why would you leave
and that's the thing, though, because if you don't pair Romero up with the right defender, then really you need 2 centre-backs, top-class centre-backs, because Romero's going to be useless.
Mark Gay.
I think you need 2 anyway, Maz, like the amount of red card.
Which allows you to play a high line. But again, is he that calm, collective? That's the thing. You've got to look
someone that complements Romero.
You've got to look for one of the elite centre back, and unless your scouting is absolutely on point, which we know ours aren't, you've got to spend top dollar for one of the most elite centre backs in the game. And
guys, Maguire is awful. Like he's not a good centre back.
He's not what we require. He hasn't got the characteristics of a defender.
Man United don't want him.
It doesn't matter what he doesn't have the characteristics of the defender that we require for the football that we want to play. It's very easy to understand. Now, if we want to go and spend the money, big money on a defender, we should be moving a lot quicker and getting players on the free transfer in the way that Tielemans has gone to Aston Villa and Dick has gone to Roma. Arwa's gone to Roma as well, all on free transfer. We are not capital. We're not moving quick enough to beat the competition because you don't want to be in a situation where you're competing with teams that are currently in a better situation than you are. So by doing that, you need to move quick. You need to be sharp. Get that player in before anyone else has the chance.
Okay,
Once we start competing with Newcastle for Maddison, we're screwed.
The Ndicka thing for me doesn't even make sense because we've been linked with him for almost 2 seasons now. And how do you let him go to Roma on a free?
Yeah, it's mad.
It's incredible.
Because we haven't got the transfer.
We don't have a manager. We don't have a manager. We don't have a clue.
But this is the thing. Roma know they cannot compete with the big boys, and also they can't spend a lot, so they just made 2 signings on a free, man. And they've gone there for Jose. They haven't gone there for any other reason because these guys didn't even finish in the top 4. So
I know they're
you
not
can
playing in
do
Champions
smart
League
business,
next
but
year.
you got to move quick, man. You got to move quick.
And Capo signed a new deal about 6 months ago. He ain't going anywhere.
There's another player that has been massively covered over the last 3-4 days, and that's this man here.
Pass.
Now, there is some arguments over, well, gossip, ITK, journalists, whatever. God knows what they talk about. We're not prepared to pay the money because there's 1 year left on his contract. Now, I'm split on this guy because when I've watched him play, I'm not too confident of him playing out from the back with his feet.
No.
So I don't know if this is the right signing for us. But as a shot stopper, I think he's good. I think he is good.
And this is where Will you can help us here. But I believe that stats wise, I think hasn't he let the most goals in from outside the box. So it's another heart situation.
I heard that the other day. Yeah.
I can pull him up real quick. But I mean, for me, there's only one option in the league for me, and that's Jose Sa.
Yeah.
Is that the Wolves guy?
Yeah, he was the best goalkeeper in the league statistically last season.
Yeah.
This season, even with the form that Wolves were on, was in the top 5 goalkeepers in the league. Now, he is, if you're looking for an Alisson, Ederson, play out of the back, command your box, a good shot stopper, an all-around modern goalkeeper, easily top 3 for me, keepers in the league in Jose Sa. It's ridiculous that we haven't made a move for him. Wolves are falling down the table. This would be a great time for him to go. He's getting up there in age. He's like 28, 29. He's in his prime. Like he's not going to be a 10-year. He's not going to be a 10-year.
Neither is Raya.
Lloris,
26, 27.
Yeah,
Raya.
but he's going to be there for at least a good. You're going to get at least 5-6 good seasons out of him. So,
and that's how long you want, really.
My first choice
goalkeeper, players, don't we?
My first choice goalkeeper is the Liverpool backup goalkeeper, Kelleher. I think it's a very similar boat.
He's a good player.
To Dean Henderson, where he's 23, 24 now, and similar age to Dean Henderson, where he's ready now to be number 1. And Kelleher knows, he's not going to be number 1 at Liverpool while Alisson is still there. So he's going to be wanting to make a move. And I've seen reports that Liverpool would accept a bid of around 20 to 25 million. Which for me would be a steal because he is a very, very excellent goalkeeper. He's a very good shot stopper. He's the modern day goalkeeper, very good with his feet. Should be the Irish number 1. I don't know how the Southampton goalkeeper who went there, can't remember his name, is the Irish number 1. Kelleher is the next big thing that's coming out. I promise you he is going to be an excellent, excellent goalkeeper.
Yeah, fifth most. Saw just even this season had the 5th most saves out of any goalkeeper in the league. So
does anyone here want him? Would anyone here pick him? Would any of you not be okay if he came to Spurs as the first team goalie?
Not for 40 million. But it's not my money, so
forget the price tag for now, Ryan. As our first team goalie, based on ability, skill, technique, what you see from him.
Ability, long term, you get 6-7 years out of David Raya. He's what I've seen as a statistic with him. His long balls and he's kicking long. He's almost perfect when he kicks from his feet. Which
not how Postecoglou plays.
But when he plays out from the back, he's quite short passes. He's quite nervy on the ball. If you look back at when Brentford went to Newcastle last season when they lost 5-0. He made a few errors with short passes. He can be a bit nervy and rickety playing out with short games. So I don't know. I mean, that could just be a one-off game. I see the merits, but it's tricky. Look, if there's no one out there, if Postecoglou said, "I want Raya," go and get Raya. If he says, "Look, I want a goalkeeper that plays out from the back that I know is solid with his feet and a very good shot stopper," and brings the all-round, and he's young and everything, I don't think Raya's your guy. I think Kelleher will be your guy. That's my personal opinion.
I don't agree with that, Strasbourg, Steve. We're not lucky to get him. I mean, yes, Brentford have done well, and they're doing great and all that sort of stuff. But we ultimately we still are a bigger club than Brentford, so I don't think saying we're lucky to get him is fair.
I don't remember us conceding a lot of goals from outside the area anyway. Nearly all our goals that we conceded were pretty much inside the box. So this
against Arsenal.
What?
I'm saying that's one. I can't remember like 10, 15, 20 goals. I'm thinking 1 or 2, but that can happen. Someone takes a pot shot, bang, goes in. A lot of our goals that we conceded were inside the area through the poor marking.
What confuses me is Postecoglou bringing in Joe Hart though, because who would have thought that he would be an Ange?
Yes, he did well for them, didn't he?
He needed a leader in that changing room, and there was quite a few
different levels, right? You got Scottish Premier League that's even below the difficulty of the Championship. So you're looking at Joe Hart compared to multiple tiers down the.
But I'm talking about in reference to fitting a system, though, right? In terms of does Joe Hart fit that system? Playing at the back, passing it around, being accurate with his sort of medium to long range passing. I'm not sure he does.
The thing is, Joe Hart did well at Celtic, but at Spurs he was just all over the place. This is the argument I've been making. The Premier League is a different. Completely different.
It's a different beast.
It's a different level of competition. By the way, Richard Knight, I thought, he brought up a good point here. What's wrong with the keepers like Austin and Whiteman already at the club? I'll tell you what I do know about these two players, because I covered this on the other channel before it got shut down. So Austin, his dad's American. He used to be a basketball player, and his son he's got his dad's height. But his son, apparently, from what I've heard in the club, they rate Austin highly. They think he's a really, really good goalkeeper. He's played for England at a youth level, done really well there as well. Whiteman, who I like.
We'll steal him too, then.
Yeah, along with who's the other one? Balogun, yeah. Whiteman, I like Whiteman. I think he deserves a chance. But from what the people at Spurs have told me is they rate Austin much, much higher. So if any of these two were to break through, Richard, it's Austin. And I think we should give him a chance if we're going to rebuild. But again, without the manager here to see
depends what the manager, depends what the manager thinks of him. You might see him and think, you know what, stop. We've got one in house. We won't know. We don't know the true level of these two guys because we've never seen them consistently anyway, playing for the team. So it's really, really hard. You just go by what you hear.
Come on, get that up. Come on, peeps.
I think it's almost
200. My bit right now. I've logged onto my phone and I've hit the like button for Tottenham Away. Go hit that like button.
Boy, Ryan.
It's 180 right now.
In my head, I can think of 10 off the top of my head of goals we've conceded from the edge of the box, roughly the edge of the box or outside the area. We've conceded a few this season from outside the box.
Yeah, mate, but we let in 60. But we let in 60.
A lot more poorly goals.
I know we got in 60.
I could live with somebody scoring a worldie every now and again outside the box and he pins it top corner. I could live with things.
Yeah,
like
but you don't want it to be part of fucking Odegaard.
Sorry, Twitchy Mac. You say Brandon's got no chance. He's 24. Goalkeepers' careers start later and finish later. A goalkeeper's quite unique. So I wouldn't say because he's 24, he's got no chance.
Goalkeepers tend to be in their prime around 27, 28.
I know,
up
but for
to
not
30s.
to be given a real chance at that age, it's one of them. Do you think Austin's just really been kept here for the homegrown quota stuff? That's what I'm thinking. A bit like what City do with Scott Carson.
I think he's been kept here because we haven't had any consistency in manager for the last 5 years. Same reason Alfie Devine's here. Same reason Dane Scarlett's here. Same reason we've kept most of these youngsters, I think.
Did I see Alfie Devine signed another contract? Did Alfie Devine sign another contract or an extension or something?
Do you know what? I've lost track of what's going on with him. He seems to be.
I've got a feeling I saw something that he'd signed an extension or something, or to stay on a bit.
Those two kids came on for the last game of the season, and Alfie Devine didn't. So that was telling. There's another couple of players that we've been linked with. God knows whether it's true or not.
So just real quick on Rhea before we jump on this one, because I'm looking at the numbers. It looks like Raya's really good at is stopping crosses, defensive actions outside the penalty area. So like kind of being a sweeper keeper behind a back line, maybe when you're playing a high line. He's not really that great at saving difficult shots. So, for example, he only ranks in the 12th percentile for high XG shots. So if it's like Son's in on him, he's not saving a whole lot of those, right? He's not making difficult saves. He makes a lot of easy saves, but not difficult ones. So it really looks like his benefits are launch percentage. So he's like in the 85th percentile of passing, long range passes and stuff like that, completed passes, and then kind of cross stopping. It's really his main benefits.
What's his weakness, Will?
His weakness is shot stopping, quality chances.
And that's what I said he was good at. Of course.
Yeah. He's in the 12th percentile. That means 88% of goalkeepers are better than him at stopping quality shots.
Is that based on? Does that take into account how many shots he has to deal with?
No, because it's based off the XG of the shot and how many of those he saved for. So for every shot on target, how many saves did he make on difficult, chances, right? Like he's really bad at saving penalty kicks as well. So when it's him and the striker and it's a quality shot on target, how many times does he get beat? He gets beat quite often, right? So he makes easy saves, right? Like low XG chances, right? Or difficult shots where there's multiple angles.
So he's poor in 1v1 situations.
So he doesn't make clangers, but he won't be like a top shot stopper on like, oh my God, how?
Yeah, if you got Son outside the box and he's curling one in the top corner, he ain't getting there, right? Like
if you're not good at 1v1 situations, Spurs traditionally don't like that. That's something that they tend to want from a player because that's what they teach in the academy, heavily 1v1. By the way, big up to Totspur, new channel member. Thank you so much, my man. Appreciate you signing up. Guys, Jadon Sancho.
By the way, Divine's got a contract to 2027, yeah?
Okay, so he's here for another 4 years.
I think someone said it was an England under-20 squad with Scarlett. That's why he didn't play last game of the season.
Okay, makes sense. Jadon Sancho.
He's not good at stopping corner kicks either. He's 15th percentile in stopping corner kick goal, conceding corner kick goals.
Jordan Pickford in.
Yeah.
What do you make of this, guys? Jadon Sancho.
Easy eggs.
Nonsense. It's a non-starter.
You can get that, wrap it in a little ball, and throw it in a bin.
We are
we wouldn't pay his wages anyway.
Swipe left. Or is it right? I don't know.
Little ball in the bin.
So no one thinks at all whatsoever that Jadon Sancho.
Oh, right, 1 second. We ain't paying those wages. You're mad. You've seen the wages he's on.
300.
Dorrington's a good player. He looks like a good player. I hope he gets a chance. He's a
hypothetically, player. If we did get Sancho, who would you drop? Would you drop Son to fit him in?
Yep.
Or would you move Son
right hand side?
He plays on the other side, doesn't he?
Isn't Son our second top goal scorer this year again?
Yeah.
He's always.
I would have dropped Son.
Second top goal scorer in the Premier League.
It's always Kane and Son. We don't have anyone else.
Yeah, no one else. The thing is, and I think Ange is going to get the most out of Son, assuming that we start well.
Well, he's got the Asian connection. He might even speak a bit of Korean. Ange, you never know.
Sancho is someone that presses.
Big difference between Japanese and Korean, but.
Yeah. Sancho's another. I mean, it's a non-starter, but Sancho.
Yeah, that was a dumbass thing to
say. Sancho would work, but he makes.
I'm kidding, man.
It's never going to happen.
I thought I'd pick you up on that later. Still,
it's like saying somebody came from Turkey. Oh, they might speak Greek pretty
Played
well.
on the left at Dortmund.
We do.
That's where you got the best out of him. He's on the left at Dortmund.
All right, I saw this today. I don't know what you make of this one. I mean, I've never heard of him. Maybe Will knows a bit because he might know some stats. But
Steve, is that Steve Strasberg?
Victor Nelson.
Strasberg.
Steve Strasberg.
What happened?
Apparently, plays for Galatasaray. He's a Danish centre back, and we're haggling over price. If you believe it, he's 23 years old. I don't know too much about him.
Never heard of him.
Anyone? Never heard of
No,
him.
I can't help you with that.
We're going to get a lot of these never heard of them with Postecoglou because that's what
Yeah.
he traditionally has done, right? So be
FB
ready.
Ref
Be
is
ready.
going to be
for it.
busy this window.
I watched a lot of that Kyogo. Is it Kyogo's goals?
Yeah, forward.
And he seems an
He knows
excellent
where the
finisher.
goal is, doesn't he? He knows where the goal is.
His finishing is really good. He's got really good technique from the highlight reel I saw.
The Portuguese player, Jota.
Yeah.
Oh,
He looks
Jota.
good. He looks very good. Guys, what do you make of this? If Harry Kane was to go, Richarlison would be promoted to be the main striker because he leads the line in Brazil. Not because he's good, not because he's talented, not because he scores goals, but because he leads the line for Brazil.
Isn't it just easy? Because this is just the Athletic, right? This is just easy journalism, right?
Yeah. Lazy journalism.
I'm not going to argue.
We've already got Richarlison. He plays striker he plays number 9 for Brazil. If Harry Kane goes up, Richarlison moves up. It's just the.
The thing is as well is why wouldn't we just put Son up top? Because when Kane was injured several seasons ago and Son was our main guy, he did brilliant.
It makes Richarlison's purchase completely pointless then, really, if that's the case.
You said it, Iggy.
Well, that would make it this point. That would make
If you're going to now play Son, he's thinking even with Harry Kane not there, we still resulting to play Son there. What's the point of this guy? 60 million.
Level, we say this a lot. Levels. Well, Son is just levels above Richarlison.
Listen, I've been saying for a long time that I thought Son, we should have gone with 2 up front and played Son next to Kane rather than him playing out nowhere. I've been saying it for about 2-3 seasons. Move Son from the left wing and play him up front with Kane. I think they're understanding the best combination in Premier League football is those two. Why are they not playing together? Play any formation that allows those two to play together up front. I just think it's mind-boggling, me personally, because they get you all the goals. Makes sense. Put them closer to goal.
Do any of you think
I don't mind where he plays. I just rather him not be forced to come back and defend and just let him stay on that defender's shoulder.
Play him in that final third. The guys they've got sensibility with. They got the goal scoring instinct. They get you goals. But it makes absolute sense for me to play them closer together and closer to goal. It's a no-brainer for me.
Would any of you seriously consider Richarlison being a good striker for Spurs next season on the basis that I'm hearing from Spurs fans comments that I heard to justify Lamella. So with Lamella is, but he's good at shithousery because that's a skill apparently.
That's
and
why
with
we paid
Richarlison,
66 million.
Yeah, well with Richarlison, I'm hearing, but he's good at pressing. Surely a striker, what you want to hear is he's good at scoring goals. I don't know.
But if you look at the way a lot of Celtic's goals were almost in the mould of how we use Son. A through ball, Son runs on.
Yeah, scored a lot from the wings. Yeah. Not so much through the striker.
And Richarlison, he hasn't shown anything this season to show me that he's a competent striker. He scored 1 goal. And even that was a bit fluky that he scored that. So Richarlison's not good at 1v1s. Actually, have I ever seen Richarlison in a 1v1, even for Everton? I don't even think
on the floor.
Yeah, it's
you know who? I'm just looking here at presses, the number of pressing attempts, and believe it or not, Pedro Porro was our highest presser per game. He pressed more than anybody else.
He's full of energy, isn't he?
It's a good sign, and it's one of the positives.
He was a bit of a delight. He was a bit of
one of the most.
Was a delight up there, wasn't he?
Few positives. One of the few positives of 2023 is having him in the side.
Yeah, Richarlison is up there too. He was averaging about 2 presses per game. Lucas Moore's up there. Son is up there, believe it or not.
But so if in the hypothetical, if we sign Kyogo and Jota, that for me would be actually 2 brilliant signings because there's potential there, and they know Postecoglou's system, and they would actually fit in our team really, really well. And the reason why Kyogo would fit in our team really, really well is because then you wouldn't have to play Richarlison. And for me, that's a bonus because Richarlison for me doesn't give us anything other than just pressing and annoying the team and, falling on the floor every 2 minutes to get cheap fouls. And I can't see Postecoglou, just judging by what I've seen. I'm not an expert on Postecoglou, but from the bit I've seen of him at Celtic, and that he would actually want that from his striker. He wants pressing, but doesn't want them falling on the floor or every 2 minutes.
As far as attempted presses, Kane was next to last, right above Hugo Lloris.
Brilliant.
Top goal scorer, though, Will. Top goal scorer, right, Will?
Top goal scorer, but he's definitely not a presser, right?
Yeah.
So.
I don't do the running. You just give me the ball. I'll put it in the net.
Yeah, Richie's been. I would go as far as say is Richie's probably a worse signing than Janssen and Soldado by far for me. Because even with Soldado, at least when you saw him touch the ball, he had a little bit of class about him. Like he had a touch on him, and he was just couldn't score. Janssen, I don't remember much about Janssen apart from him not being very good. But Richarlison last year was just awful. He had 1 or 2 games, I think, where he played half decent. It looked like he was putting in a performance, but the rest of it was just rubbish. I'm not a fan. I think you can tell.
I think it was just I think it's just another mystery, isn't it? Why they ended up getting him. I don't know if it's part of the Delhi deal or something like that. Like, we'll just take Delhi off us and we'll just give you money. It was just a strange one, to be fair.
Guys,
how long was his contract though?
Who's that?
3 years.
Richie,
Richie.
5 years. So he's got 4 left.
Oh.
Yeah, mate, we're stuck with him.
It's another loss.
We're stuck with him. No one's going to pay. That's another Ndombele.
5-year deal.
That's another loss, isn't
it?
it?
Been 4.
Don't worry, he'll press next season, and people will be like, "You see, that he's a good player, and he won't score more than 10 goals."
Any chance Mbappe to Spurs wings?
He can press the kits.
Ryan, you're the problem.
I'm always the problem. Don't worry.
If Mbappe comes to Spurs, I swear to God, I'll forgive Levy for the last 20 years because I know it's not going to happen. So I won't have to forgive him.
You heard it here first.
You are done. Imagine if tomorrow we wake up and Levy's sorted out like this temp. This
Mbappe last year on Instagram was caught in a video being asked a question about Spurs, and he fucking laughed.
I know. I remember.
And that was with Conte as the manager.
Said, if Mbappe signs for Spurs, you're going to forgive Levy. Can you imagine if we wake up tomorrow and we get this Qatar minority stake in, and then Mbappe comes to Tottenham?
I will make a public apology on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. I'll even start up to Twitter just to apologise. I would apologise to
Daniel
everyone.
Levy, I'm really sorry for the 20 years.
On the money that he's on, you guys.
Daniel, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I got you wrong. You're a G. You're one of the greatest. You're my hero. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. So don't worry about it.
You could just go. You got prime seats for Beyonce. You got prime seats for all of
I'll
these.
Go to all the concerts. I'll go to Beyonce. I'll go to Lady Gaga. I'll do the F1. I'll go to NFL. Every once I'm there. If he brings Mbappe to Tottenham,
still comes on the stream with a
3 more. Shirt. Come on.
He'll sign the wrong player. He'll sign someone like, I don't know,
Mbupu.
Will, what's your view on Madison?
Mkuku. Still short for Stellini. No,
I think Madison's is a good player. I worry a little bit about his attitude, though. I've heard that he's kind of a difficult person to work with. But no, I got no. Madison, he consistently produces, at least for Leicester, right? Year after year. So,
is there an alternative that you would want instead of Madison from the Premier League?
From the
Not for
Premier
Barnes,
League?
I go Harvey Barnes.
Yeah, I
think
was
Harvey
thinking.
Barnes will be cheaper.
Barnes.
As an attacking mid? No.
No, not as an attacking mid. I would take him
Or as a
an
central.
there's not really anyone out there that I can see as potentially getting in that number 10 role.
Where's that Matoma play?
Left
plays on the
wing.
left.
He could Matoma could play probably attacking mid. I think that's where he plays for Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
How old's Coutinho? Or maybe a Buendia from Villa?
I to be honest with you, if you're going to go with somebody young who Postecoglou could probably work with, it would probably be Lee Kang-in. Go get that young Korean attacking mid. Talking about instant chemistry between him and Son. They've been playing together for the national team for years. He's quality in where he's playing now. So
could you imagine the meltdown in our fan base from section of the crowd that would just lose the plot with another South Korean? It would be hilarious. I think we should do it just for the meltdown.
The thing is, though, I think I'll
would there be a
really
meltdown?
enjoy seeing just something completely different.
You saw the shit that happened last year with Son.
Oh yeah. Maybe people just like to shit on him, I guess. Maybe.
We
That's
got
what I mean.
Ndombele Lo Celso coming back. Why do you want a number 10 for?
Joe
We've got
Rodon.
I mean, if you need like a real attacking
Celso.
mid, somebody who can
It's White.
create,
It's
somebody
White from
who's high energy, somebody who
Apparently
not
Arsenal
only makes
signed Declan
runs
Rice.
into the box but also can create passes. I mean, just go back and watch some of the balls that he played in the World Cup. Look at him. Right?
Gibbs White? Gibbs White from Forest?
100 million.
Arsenal have just
I
spent
wouldn't take White
£100
over
million.
Lee Kang-in.
Arsenal just spent £100 million on Declan Rice.
Fair
And we're
enough.
arguing over 40 million for
Why?
Rayner.
Let's let him.
But don't
I
worry,
rate
Chris
Declan
Cowlin.
Rice.
Chris
Sorry.
Cowlin, top four, yeah? Top four, Chris. Top four.
I don't
Mate,
rate
that guy
Declan
belongs.
Rice, so.
That guy belongs
Yeah,
in a Levy
It's
asylum.
not £100
Injected
million
the Levy vaccine.
worth, man.
Just-
Good player, but
He's not a
£100
£100 million player. No
Come on,
way.
man.
It's the Levy
No,
vaccine
crazy.
injects it.
Yeah, but you know what? If
They are
if they
expected
if
to
they
pay
feel they want him,
more.
go and do it.
They are
Someone's
expected
gonna
to
clip
pay
that still.
more than 100 million for the midfielder. This is what the
Used to
reports are saying. But
It's part of life.
we shall
You-
see.
There was
We shall
another
see.
source that said it was 80. So
But look at McAllister from Brighton, 35 million. It's going to Liverpool.
That's rising
That
to
is
50
a sign.
with add-ons.
Yeah, but it's not going to be 100 million.
No,
Do
but
you
I
see
think
what I'm trying to say?
I think the thing is though is that Arsenal are showing intent. They're behaving like a big club.
Yeah, But if
Well,
it's
they
the
were- they
player
were-
they,
they
if,
were gonna
if it's
pay
the
70
player they want, right? If it's the player they want, and
Go
Exactly.
and pay for it.
just
I
go
it.
and
I
get
get-
him.
I get-
number
I
one
get that side.
target, priority target,
put
Premier
70
League club
Yeah.
in this should have to pay the going rate, and they're paying the going
They
rate.
had put 75 million down for Caicedo in January. So
But guys,
Listen.
I'd just like to remind you all, right? I'd just like to remind you all that our chairman has told us FFP is going to change the rules. Just to remind everyone, FFP.
He's been beating that drum. All I gotta say is that when that rule goes into effect, if we don't immediately jump to the top of the table, he's gonna have a lot of explaining to do because he is betting the farm on this FFP rule change.
For the last
He
10
really
years,
is.
Phil, he's been saying it's coming. It's
He's been
coming.
pounding that
he's
drum
been getting rid of
hard
it.
in statements for the past 2 years. Right? That's his
Jesus.
excuse. And when that excuse
Well,
falls through the floor,
he won't be.
Breaking news,
Nothing-
breaking news,
nothing
breaking
can
news.
happen.
Guys,
While
breaking
everyone
news.
else is buying
Spurs,
players,
Spurs
spending
about
money,
to sign brown rice.
winning shit.
I like a good brown rice. Brown rice
Well
is good.
done, mothers.
Egg fried
Nothing
rice is
wrong.
bad.
Oh my god.
He would
Guys-
say that he didn't mean that. He meant something else. When that rule doesn't come through, he'll say no. He didn't mean that. He meant that. Listen, there's
No.
always
He'll
gonna
say
be-
no. What he'll say
Everyone
is
else is not
what he'll say is there's another rule coming in 2030 which we are now preparing for. So just wait until then. But listen, I wanted to end on something because this is probably one of the most realist things I've seen. A fan sent this to me today. Levy is the GOAT. Now, there was this thread on Twitter that said English football fans, English football's culture of toxic positivity and dishonesty has caused City's domination, right? Which sounds a bit weird, but he goes on to say the vast majority of fans have nobody to blame but themselves, which is what I've always said, Spurs fans, for allowing clubs and club employees to feed them utter bullshit for years on end. Now, on this channel, we try and dissect that bullshit and not fall for it. But let's go on and read what it says. Currently, lots of clubs are free to feed fans absolute and utter nonsense that goes completely unchallenged. Multiple managers compare top four to a trophy. The media won't pull them up on it and point out its failure because they benefit from this top four mentality too. Lots of idiot fans are more happy to also buy into this ridiculous top four mentality if the media tells them that top four is needed to buy X or Y player in the summer, despite this being proven to be untrue over and over again by multiple high-profile players joining non-Champions League clubs. You've got managers out there calling utter embarrassments great season, and nobody pulls them up on it. Most fans just swallow it up. The media take it as fact. There's no actual objectivity involved. What's so hard about calling failure what it is? We've got managers out there praising players for piss-poor performances that people have just watched with their own eyes, just seen as protecting players rather than managers insulting fans' intelligence. Why do these grown millionaires need protection from accountability? Something Iggy said earlier, accountability. Managers are free to lie to fans as much as they want, and lots of fans lap it up. Every time I point out Ten Hag has come out with something totally untrue, my mentions are filled with, what do you expect him to say? Feeding fans utter bullshit has somehow become the norm. Most players are in the same boat. They are all out here pulling PR stunts, grinning in fans' faces after an embarrassing result, coming out with some utter bullshit about bouncing back. I think that's Tottenham in the Instagram, working hard, ready for the next one, and trying to spin absolutely everything and anything into something to be positive. If someone dares to speak a bit about the truth like Ronaldo or Conte did this season, everyone is fucking outraged at it and they are sacked, as if a bit of honesty is the crime of the century. It has now become an environment where the truth is the problem and bullshit is accepted.
It's true.
Listen, I could go on and on and on, right? This thread.
That's a book.
Get him on the show.
I read the thread earlier and it's spot on.
And I'll put the thread, guys, I'll put the thread in the link because otherwise we'll be here all day. Guys,
looks like your internet's been there all day too because of...
Get him on the show is what I say.
I've just put the link, guys, in the thread. In the comment section, so you can all click on it and read it. But I have to say, to me, I thought, wow, someone is actually calling it out for what it is. When we go in on certain people for their comments, like a Chris Cowlin or others, this is what he's talking about: the bullshit they buy and the bullshit they accept. Do you think that we are at a place now where it's not even about the reality of football? It's just buying into being part of the theatre.
It's endemic of what's happening globally in society, right, and in the West. I don't want to make this a political show, but
no, don't go for it, mate. Go for it.
It's happening. It's certainly happening in the media, isn't it? In the way that they latch onto certain narratives and they try and promote certain narratives and try and dispel facts, or if someone has a contrary opinion, they fact check them and try and silence them. And I think what we're seeing in football now is that the bigger clubs more so are media machines, right? And they try and control the narrative and they try and feed that narrative to effectively keep the fans on side and keep them talking and keep the buzz about certain things and buy shirts and etc. Because ultimately they're big organizations and they have departments of not just one marketing guy, but they'll have a dozen people in their marketing team, or they'll outsource that to a company to manage it, and they'll use all of the tools in the book, and everything he said is precisely true. And the person I'll give the most props to for calling certainly this type of stuff out is Will, because Will's been going on about this sort of stuff for 3 years now. So big up Will, basically, because Will's been. That's what pisses Will off the most, I guess.
Yes.
I never thought for 1 second by bringing up that story would get to a point of where we'd say big up Will.
Big up Will.
I'm all in. I'm all up for it.
Yeah, the only thing that pisses him off.
Yeah, Will.
No, it just comes down to critical thinking. That's what I've been banging on for about the whole time. People don't have critical thinking skills.
Yeah, because a lot of if you look at a lot of the the heated debates that Will's got into and various other people on the panel and myself and stuff like that, it all comes down to people not being able to properly justify their opinion on something. They're going off a narrative that they've read on the internet without really knowing the subject matter very well. I won't mention the gentleman's name, but there's another YouTuber now that's all of a sudden big on statistics. Well, but yet they'll criticize Will for being big on statistics. So it's a circus. It's right.
Well, I actually made a video a couple of weeks ago saying that people need to apologise to Will Stewart because the club or some rumour gossip came out that Spurs are going to go down the data-driven model for transfers. And I made a video saying, isn't that what Will does? And you all slag him off. And now you're praising the club for going down this route. Which one is it?
Well, I mean, in the same breath, what I find the most ironic, right? This is the irony about it, is that a lot of these guys who shit on me on streams about my statistics, and a lot of people in the chat, they'll praise Brighton, for their getting how they get their players and the quality of the gems that they find, their recruitment. They'll praise Brentford, right? They'll praise Liverpool. They'll praise these clubs, and all of these clubs sign their players based on a Moneyball statistical system. All of them, right? Brentford, that's what they base it on, right? Is data analysis. Liverpool has more cameras in their stadium than NASA uses to monitor the space shuttle, right? And they're actually using technology from different, they actually, so I read an article one time how Liverpool, they had this NASA equipment where they would actually 3D model the games and then analyze players' arm and leg movements. Right? This is how far into statistics they're going as far as data analysis is concerned. That they actually build a 3D model of the entire game where you can rotate on the pitch players' arm and leg positions in real time, or, live. You can circle around, zoom in, look at this, and they would analyze player arm and leg movements. Right, as far as...
I mean, sports science is a massive part of sport now. I mean, in golf, a lot of the golf players, apart from the ball technology in golf advancing a lot since the olden days, but, you have all these motion systems and club tracking and launch monitors monitoring ball speed, and it's the same with football.
Ball speed, launch angle, spin rate,
and I think in summary, my point, I'll let other people come in, is that the Twitter thread was absolutely spot on. People aren't willing to do the legwork to be able to have a proper debate and justify their logic and their rationale for things. And then when someone like Will comes in and they use statistics to dismantle that argument, and Will might be wrong. I'm not saying Will is correct, but they don't come at him back with any facts. They just come at him with just emotion. Yeah, and the whole argument disappears. So anyway, my conclusion is
I would love it. I would love somebody. I hope somebody comes into the YouTube community who's better at analyzing data than I am and will make me look like a fool. I'm waiting for that day, and I hope it comes. I really do. It'll be a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. Right? Because next time I get into a debate about who's better than who, and I hear the word energy or mental fortitude, I'm gonna lose my shit. Right? It's.
I mean, everyone uses data now.
Smell the energy when he comes on the pitch.
It runs around a lot.
Bases a lot of stuff on data and statistics. I'm more of a observer. I see it how I see it on the pitch. And Will has said countless times, Son's been the best or one of the best performers statistically. Whereas many people, such as myself, who we'll watch him for 90 minutes, and I Will does. And obviously, we're not looking at him for the full 90 minutes. We're watching the game, see it in a completely different way. Like, well, he didn't score, he didn't assist, he didn't. But just the way the stats do work out, it shows that he's not at the greatest of seasons, but the way that because he had an anomaly 2 seasons ago now where he scored 23. I never expect him to hit those numbers again, but just the way, I mean, even you said the stats back up, it has been a lesser season than what he typically would get.
Yeah, his shooting, his goal conversion rate is dropped probably about 50%. Right, normally where he'll exceed what his expected chances. This year he just matched them. Right, so he normally is overperforming. Right, his ability, his chances that he gets, meaning he's one shot, one goal. Right, every time he shoots, every time he gets a shot on target for the most part, the ball's hitting the back of the net. To this year, it being 2 out of 10. Right, he gets a shot on target, and only 2 of them are going in versus 5. Right, so he's been. But if you look at the rest of his game, his presses, defensive actions, shot and goal creation, his numbers are up there. That's equal with, in sometimes even better cases than last season. Right, the only aspect of his game this season that had dropped off was his finishing. Right? And that's a fact.
On the stats basis, on the pressing, when I saw him in games, it didn't look like he was pressing that much. He didn't have the energy. Like, it just looked like it. But the stats don't back up what we're seeing on the pitch. So that's how, some people can say, well, it doesn't look like it. But the stats.
So Ryan, this. So I had to start to study quantitative statistics in my master's and at my bachelor of arts. And the 3 things I remember about statistics was, and I'm no expert at it, but something I remember we had to do is 1, a statistic is meaningless by itself. It needs another statistic to compare it to. Number 2, the underlying variables have to be the same. So if you go and look at Harry Kane, the last 5 games he scored in, and Heung-min Son and Jadon Sancho, the last 5 games he scored in, what were the pitch conditions like? What was the weather like? What was the level of competition? So the variables have to be the same. And also, there's something called an anomaly where once in a while, there's a piece of data that just doesn't make sense. For example, Leicester winning the league doesn't make sense. If you can understand that, then you can begin to interpret statistics. That's what I was told. And that's how I was taught it. I mean, Will, I don't know if I've made any sense to you, what I've just said there.
So you're absolutely right. So the data is just the data, right? It's just the amount, it's just a fact, right? It's just what has happened. And when you try to apply that data to a conclusion or a hypothesis, you do need something to compare that data to, right? If you're going to say X is better than Y, you need to know the value of Y, right? You can't simply, if all you have is X, like say Son was the only person to play football in the entire world for an entire season, you can't say he's better than anyone else because there's no data to compare it to, right? But the difference is when you come into a team, right? So like you take attempted challenges, which is a press, right? You're pressing a player and you're looking at attackers. You had Kulusevski with 44 attempts. You had Son with 30 attempts. The next closest person to him is Richarlison had 27 attempts. You had Harry Kane had 21 attempts. So Harry Kane is the least, he's not pressing. You have Son and Kulusevski who are up there, and they're up pressing. Kulusevski's pressing more than Emerson and Pedro Porro is, right? So you can see that and compare it. So if you say Son's the worst presser on the team, well, no, he's not, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 people in the squad worse than him at it, right? So, and the players, like even Richarlison doesn't press as much as Son does. So you can't sit there and say Son doesn't press like Richarlison does, because even per 90, and that means you're talking time on the pitch, Son attempts more presses than Richarlison does. It's just that when you're seeing it in a game, in a moment, and Son might make one mistake that you think he should have done better than with, you're biased against that and it sticks out in your memory. But it isn't equal to the entire breadth of the 90-minute spot.
Yeah, because people, sorry, let me just say one point, because I think a lot of people's interpretation with that word as well is they'd rather do like a univariate analysis rather than a multivariate analysis, because multivariate analysis of what you're doing is hard. And people don't want to put the legwork in to do that. So then their biases just override it because it's easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, they just saw it. They saw a guy beat Son, or Son didn't step out to press, and they remember the fact that he didn't, right? Negative things people remember more often than the positive things.
Yeah.
Right? You could watch some press 50 times in a game, but you'll remember the 10 times he didn't. Right? That's the difference. People remember negative things. It's just human nature. We remember negative. You remember when your wife screams at you more than when she walks in and says, "I love you," right? That's just
drama
the way.
sells.
Yeah.
Drama sells, man. I think here, right, Joe Phillips, you say stats are useful and good pointers in various disciplines, but you still need an eye for a player and their possible use within the coach. So what I'll say to this is, you're right, but this is what clubs do. So they'll use stats to identify a player worth sending a scout to. You can't send scouts to every game, to every club, to every league.
Hundreds of thousands of players, right? Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But what you can do is collect data, analyze it, stats, and then say, right, do the statistics suggest we should go and watch that player? And then they'll send the scout to go and watch the player. And I'm talking at professional level, not at grassroots, because there's not enough data on grassroots players. So they do that. That's what most clubs do. Guys, listen, we need to wrap it up because we're almost coming up to 3 hours. And we said we'd only go for 2 hours. We've done it again. But listen, we've got to do something before we go.
Tottenham Away.
Tottenham Away. But before we go, there's something we've got to do. All right? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
All over again. From Amsterdam to the King Power. We've done it again.
That's the watch along I did with what's his name? Simon. Oh my God, Will, is that you, Will?
What is me putting it in there? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's you. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Why are you going so slow?
To you.
Happy birthday, dear Iggy. Happy birthday to you.
Cheers, thank you very much. Heartfelt. Big up, guys.
Happy birthday, brother.
Big up to everyone that done the super chat earlier with a happy birthday and all the messages happy birthday. Truly appreciated.
And for Iggy, hit that like. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Then you never will.
Yeah, big up to everyone in the chat tonight. Imi, who said happy birthday to Iggy. H, who sent you £10 for a beer. Swifty, who sent you £20 for a bottle of wine. And then big up to Apocalypse Now and to Tot Spurs, new channel members. Thank you, both of you. Big up for supporting our channel. Much appreciated. And that's it for another week. Iggy will be doing his shows each morning. I just put random videos out if something rattles me. Mahri's got his Wednesday show. Will's doing his shows whenever he feels like doing them on whatever subject he wants. And we will be back maybe Friday, but probably next Monday, and just doing a weekly recap of everything that's going on in terms of news, gossip, and hopefully transfers actually happen. But Ryan, when's Tottenham tour next time? I forgot to mention. Big up.
Tottenham tour. We got Ryan, who's got a lot more free time now, so expect a few more cockerel doodle doos. We're going to maybe edit it and do cockerel doodle didgeridoo to add a bit of a so we're thinking about that. Ben's back from his holiday, so get over to the coffee company, subscribe there. You can he does his coffee, the coffee shows between 2 and 3 every day when he's in the coffee shop. So head over to the coffee company, which is part of Tottenham on tour.
Award show. Still remember you saying that.
Yes, we are going to do the award show, just probably end of the month. Just bear with me on that. We are going to try and put something together. So 100% we will be doing that. That should be a good one.
That's pretty much it for Tottenham on tour. We've got the Crocodile Doodle-Doos. When stuff comes out, obviously, we might catch up on the stuff that's coming out. We kind of are potentially going to be doing an end of season review, but obviously it's difficult because everyone's different timings. But hopefully soon we're going to be back with more content that you'll all have.
Ryan, I asked you when are you next on, and I got a breakdown of the next year's plans.
I don't know. Look, in the next week or two, expect a lot of cocktail didgeridoos, and Ben's back in the coffee shop. There you go.
By the way,
do you know what? Your dad. By the way, whose dad was that? I missed that last message. Sorry, guys, I'm just responding.
I don't know. I was
It
flicking
was
through the messages.
somebody's messes. Yeah, somebody's dad's birthday.
Mate,
Big up to
you
your
know,
dad.
Ryan, you reminded me of something when you said the didgeridoo. Do you know what cracked me up the other day? You know, Expressions does that. We was oozing sauce.
Yeah.
Did you see what he did the other day on his channel?
No.
He was talking about Postecoglou. He goes, "We're going to be kangaroosing sauce."
I show skills. Your dad's birthday. Big up to your dad.
Who's it again? Which one? Let's pick him up.
I show skills.
Show
11:19 p.m. I just went back and see it.
Is that I Show Speed's little brother or what?
Happy birthday to your dad.
To your dad.
Happy birthday to you, mate.
Mine on Wednesday.
Yours is tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Happy
birthday.
Make sure you jump on
What
Mahri's
month
channel.
is it? Do I have any birthdays?
And do
no, I don't.
do
My
a
little
shout
brother's
for his
birthday's
mum.
later, end of the month. But Mahri's probably going to be doing Spurs Lounge on Wednesday, right? That's Mahri's day for doing Spurs Lounge. And then my summer show, which is called the Spursy Summer, is running normally on Saturdays. It was on Sunday this week because of the Champions League watch along that Mahri was doing. But Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, which is like midnight UK. And last two shows, first show we did sunglasses, this one we did watches, then we do Spurs chat. It's like a bit of a long stream, 6 hours on the other one, 4 hours on the other one. This Saturday is going to be top 5 men's summer fragrances. I've got 10 fragrances. They're going to battle it out, right? And we're going to come up with the top 5.
Hang on. You done a stream of 6 hours about sunglasses?
No, only the first 15, 20 minutes about sunglasses. The rest of it is Spurs stuff, right?
Oh,
watches was good though.
The watch show was about 40 minutes for the first part, and then the next 3 hours are about Spursy
stuff.
Yeah, Spursy stuff. So.
Well, I was thinking about this. So, you know, your show, we do sunglasses and watches. I think you should link it to Tottenham. So, which watch suits which player? Which fragrance you think would suit which player?
I could do that. I could do
That'd be great.
That would be quite funny.
Yeah, but he hasn't got that many fragrances that smell like shit.
not repellent ones.
I do have a few because for this challenge, look, I'm spending my own money for the community, right? So I have blind bought probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 new men's fragrances just to do this show video. Spent probably nearwards up to $200-$300. So I'm putting my bank account on the line for this one.
Rats piss litter.
Some of them I don't like, so I'm either have to give them to my kids or sell them at a 50% discount.
We got to get a sponsorship deal going here, right?
Yeah. So,
mate, if we got sponsored by I don't know Jean-Paul Gaultier or
Coco,
yeah, we get big enough. We get enough views because this channel. I don't know if people realize this, but we probably get 500,000 views a month. So believe it or not, we have potential to get some sponsorship opportunities. So it's
Can we get Hugo Boss?
My money will be Manscaped.
Get some Hugo Boss. We get a Hugo sponsorship.
Sponsor everyone.
Yeah.
Ryan's channel have had Manscaped. They had it in the past.
Yeah.
I actually used your discount code. I actually used it to buy some Manscaped.
Manscaped stuff's garbage, though. Unfortunately. It really is.
Top 10
is such a waste of money. I'll do that. I'll do a beard trimmer review. I'll do that.
Top 10 ball
shavers. The ball. Listen, I'll say it right. The ball toner and the ball sprays are very good.
Ball toner.
Yeah, they're actually very good.
The ball deodorant's not bad. In fact, that's probably the only thing. But the ball deodorant's not worth $100. So I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Never spent £100 for that. £100.
That's what the kit costs. That comes with the ball deodorant, the razor.
You get the shaving kit and the electric bits. You get the razors. You get
everything. And then then they send you the ball deodorant like once every 6 months.
Oh, we need that, right?
One minute. Why are we promoting Manscaped? They're not even a sponsor yet.
I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, I won't promote
they will sponsor us.
You don't want me doing the review for Manscaped because it's shit. Right? I'm telling you, you could go find a lot better.
Sponsor us. Because you're shit.
Yeah. That ball deodorant. Fast forward of the month, they'll be our sponsor. That's the best you can buy.
the ball deodorant, it may keep your balls dry, like that's the benefit of it, but you could just get some talcum powder. The way that smells, dude, is it's like taking like Versace Aero, spinning it around in horse shit, and then wiping that on your balls, and that's what that stuff smells like.
Listen,
it's gross.
I'll tell you what,
money saving tips.
Listen, I'll tell you what, their boxer shorts are pretty good.
They're decent.
Their boxer shorts are decent. 100%.
Yeah,
anyway, on that note, guys,
beard trimmer's a piece of garbage. So,
thanks for tuning into our football channel. As always, appreciate you being here. From everyone here and from Tottenham on Tour, good night. God bless. See you soon.
Love you, Rachel. Keep fighting.
Leave you out.
Big up, Rachel.
Big up, Rachel.
Well soon, Rachel.
And happy birthday, Iggy, as well.
Beardscape is better, by the way.
Happy birthday, man.
Rice is right.
Leave you out.
Leave you out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.